Good morning, pop culture. We are live. It is Tuesday, November 20th, 2018. It's 7:56 a.m., and it's time to get your day started with Good Morning Pop Culture, the greatest morning show in the history of time. If ever there was a better show, well, then time would cease to exist. But I have it on good authority from Mike Zero. We are the best pop culture show in the future as well. And today, I'm joined by a guest, a first for Good Morning Pop Culture. He's our friend. He's a patron. You know him. You love him. Say hello to American Trent.
Only thing I know about the future is that tomorrow never dies.
Jesus. So you'll live to die another day? That's the actual line from the movie. Oh, God, I hate that fucking movie so much.
Yeah, don't. Let's not mention that.
Yeah,
I was playing Nightfire last night, and I saw at the very bottom it says "Die Another Day" trailer. I'm not gonna click that.
Dude, I used to watch that trailer as a kid and go, man, this is going to be cool. Well, actually, I had seen the movie before I got the game. I got the game on Christmas of 2002. But back then, that wasn't really... It didn't really sink in until about the DVD purchase that Die Another Day wasn't very good.
Well, it wasn't very good, but hey, just look at the bright side. Maybe Mike Zero, told you or forgot to mention it to you. We might have an Asian James Bond in the future, so let's save that for later in the show. Yeah, good morning, everybody. I'm glad to be a guest here on this hallowed time slot of YouTube radio. This is a great day. Glad to be here with all you fine folks because I actually am off until the rest of the week. So, yeah, good to have Thanksgiving this week.
And this is our last show of the week. So for those out there, I'll catch this later and catch them tomorrow live. Nope. There is no show tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, nothing Saturday or Sunday. So this is the last time you're going to hear from me all week. You'll see a Black Friday live stream, but that's going to be a lot different, a lot crazier because I'm going to be out there fighting for my life to grab, I don't know, a KitchenAid mixer or some other garbage. So it's going to be an interesting thing. But we got Good Morning Pop Culture to talk about. There's the title of today's video. Kathleen Kennedy was a nightclub dancer. Not clickbait. Damn true. I got pictures to prove it. There's also all kinds of news coming from what could have been in the Snyder Cut of Justice League. Also, Avengers 4? ? And that new Marvel timeline, which we've all seen and really have a lot of questions about. So today's show is a lot of fun. And we're going to be discussing that with Trent. Kendo might pop in. Hell, you never know what's going to happen. And by the way, Thursday night, after you're done eating, come over to here, listen to our pre-recorded Planes, Trains, and Automobiles commentary. The greatest Thanksgiving movie next to Spider-Man. Do you consider Spider-Man a Thanksgiving movie just because there's a scene at Thanksgiving, Trent?
No, because unlike Die Hard, which it all takes place on, essentially Christmas Eve into Christmas Day morning, it's just one scene at Thanksgiving. So I do not, but there is that scene. You are correct. So there's also Missy Elliott in that movie, but
Gray.
What was that? You kind of bee-boo bopped.
You said it's Macy Gray, not Missy Elliott.
I thought it was Missy Elliott. Okay, Macy Gray. Well,
Missy Elliott was cool. Macy Gray was cool.
Well, now they're both irrelevant. So
sadly, that's the truth. I mean, Get Your Freak On was the best hit of 2000 or some shit, 2001. I don't know. I had the one Missy Elliott album, but that was a grade school Jeff when he thought rap was cool. I used to listen to Ludacris as well. But now that was the past. Those are stories that I'll never tell here on the channel unless you guys ask me explicitly. So Trent, we're only 15 viewers away from starting today's main topic, which is great. I love when people are here early. I don't have to put up with filler. I can just go straight into the topics because there's a lot of topics to talk about. And wow, we just dropped 10 people. That's hilarious.
Oh God! See, now they're just messing with you, Jeff. No, but there's no time for bullshit, even from these world-class bullshitters. We got to go.
No, we are on a schedule because what they don't know is we got to record a whole bunch of stuff after Good Morning Pop Culture.
That is true.
Yeah. So, but while we do wait, you said that Stan Lee has mentioned that his favorite superhero movie was the first Spider-Man, correct?
That's correct. I believe I read that somewhere in the group, and I believe the source quoted an article. So it might be actually Good Morning Pop Culture here in the chat that I saw that and mentioned something about it. And that does make sense if you think about it, because I believe that really is, especially when coupled with Spider-Man 2, it is the truest film adaptation of Spider-Man. And I always felt like when I think about Stan Lee, I do think Marvel, but first I do think Spider-Man because I just feel that, and Stanley may have said that about him. I think it might have been his favorite character that he was a part of in the creation.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he loved Spider-Man. I think he might have put a little bit of himself in there. And of course, she had the work done with Steve Ditko and all that. But yeah, I really do think that probably was his favorite character. And Stan Lee, I know you mentioned it earlier with the whole Bill Maher thing, and I listened to Ethan's comments on it, and there were some points that Maher made, regarding some people not pop culture and geek culture now, avoid responsibility, and he blamed that to adults, staying into comic books and that sort of entertainment and culture past their childhood, and he assigned that to people being lazy pieces of soy shit, pretty much. And it's like, no, I think part of it is there are people like that in every community that is a part of geek culture as well. People tend to be, lazy in everything, and it's that in geek culture as well. But I think the reason there's people like that is because people like Bill Maher have their other dumbass ideas, and they go spewing that around. And they're also the kind of people like Bill Maher that can say stuff about a guy not even a week after his death. And that'd be my counter to Bill Maher, because those were tasteless comments. Any validity he had is gone with how he presented it and when he did. It's just no respect for how he did it.
So apparently we're having technical issues. People love to think it's my microphone. It's YouTube. So take it up with them, and we're going to wait. We have to get back up to the viewer count. Lethal Lightning says, Kathy K dances on my bed every night. Ugh.
Ooh, Lethal Lightning. You might be lethal, my man. You might be a lethal weapon. You might have taken out Riggs for all I know, but that's more lethal. Her in the bed. Yeah, I'd be dead. Not in a good way.
Oh, so yeah, Mr. V, I got a response to Pal, or from Pal, to read on air this morning. Don't worry, I got a lot of stuff to talk about. I prepare for Good Morning Pop Culture. I actually had breakfast today, so it's going to be a lot of energy from Jeff. So once we climb back up to 16 more viewers, we're ready. But Trent, did you get a chance to check out that Marvel video I put out yesterday?
I did, and great work, man. Great work. I remember back when, what was it? Was it July? It was either July or August. I stopped in at Ollie's because I thought, why not? I think it was after you did your first video there. So I thought I'd go take a look. And they didn't have much Star Wars stuff there other than the, blade builders and shit, which they had enough of to, make any kid's Christmas magical in Rwanda. But honestly, it was obviously it's just full of junk Star Wars shit. But the one thing they did have a ton of was Star Wars comic books. Some like they had one book, excuse me, I believe it was an entire run of the Dark Horse 2013 run. They had that book there. Yeah, I think it was like priced at $75, and it was like down to $12. I mean, I eventually got every single release comic from that line, as like for $20, which isn't bad. But they also had some of the X-Men, the Uncanny X-Men. They had those there. There's some DC, and there was a whole like shitload of like Inhumans and stuff like that. And I imagine it's gotten more now since they did that dump, but it was there even back in July. It's been coming and growing steadily.
Well, the funny thing is, everybody in the video is like, why didn't you buy Kraven's Last Hunt? Well, I guess they didn't look at it closely enough because it wasn't the comic book. It was a novelization. And I did a video last July where I showed all the Spider-Man trade paperbacks I bought over the years. And Kraven's Last Hunt was one of those books that I've always had. Not only do I have the book, I have all the single issues. I even have a digital copy that came with something. So for those people out there that watch the video and think, I thought you liked Spider-Man, why wouldn't you get Kraven's Last Hunt? Much like the Ant-Man book, it wasn't a comic book. It was a novel. So there you go. We had a super chat from Helena von Lachstein. Make Mordor great again. Do we know her stripper name? Love you guys. Keep it coming. Not in relation to Kathleen. LMAO. Well, folks, remember, she was a dancer. Let's use the proper phrase.
I'll put it this way, though. Yeah, Kathleen's not going to keep anything coming
You
except
know what's funny?
vocal response from the fans.
Well, to jump back to that Ollie's thing, it's so funny. Everyone's like, "You're trash. You didn't pick up those books." Here's the thing for the people that actually don't pay attention to this channel. Anything that's ever knocked over, I do pick up, but I tell people in the videos that I don't to see how they freak out, because then I know who watches the videos out of spite and who watch the videos because they enjoy them. It's a real easy thing to kind of pick apart those things. It makes me laugh every time. It's like, you didn't pick up those things. You're terrible. It's like, you're an idiot. So if you're listening and you posted one of those comments, shame.
No.
Okay, so now that the stream quality is back. Okay, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
No, I was going to say that I'm the same way. If I'm looking for something, I don't care what the hell it is, it falls over, I just immediately pick it up and put it back. Even someone else, if I walk by and something like, say, a fucking loaf of bread fell on the floor, some other person kicked it over and they were too lazy, I'll pick it up. Just I
don't go that far, but it's just so funny to read the comments and people get so triggered.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If I was doing like a video at my local Walmart and I got 10 different Rose Ticos stacked up for $2 sitting there for the past 6 months, and one falls over, if I was filming that like in the same vein of your toy videos, I'd probably kick it down the aisle, but I would eventually go pick it back up. But I would, for the video, yeah, it's a piece of shit. I gotta give it some grief.
So, by the way, for those wondering, there's a second part to this video where I look at all the toys, and I found about 30 of those ATSTs from Walmart. I saw somebody in the chat talk about it. Yeah, there are tons of them. So many. They're like $10 $10.
$10?
Yeah, for
to be honest,
it's a hell of a deal.
I mean, it's a repack of the Legacy Collection one from 2009, and it's not bad. Once you get to stand right, and there is a way. It looks pretty good on a shelf. I mean, it looks legit. Like $10. Yeah, I got hit my ollies.
So, let's start talking about the Kathleen Kennedy thing. So, here we go. The longtime Spielberg collaborator and producer received the Irvin G. Thalberg Memorial Award to honor creative producers whose bodies of work reflect a consistently high quality of motion picture production. When accepting her award, Kathleen Kennedy said, "Steve Frank and I formed Amblin in 1981 with a goal that would make Mr. Thalberg proud to tell hopeful stories about the triumph of the human spirit, which is wonderful, and we're always happy to see her recognized for her years of tremendous work, and the Amblin and other companies. So aside from the honor bestowed to Kathleen Kennedy last night, the reminder was her contribution to the films of Steven Spielberg that are not just behind the camera because, and here's the photo that I have of her as a nightclub dancer, folks. Be prepared." Kathleen Kennedy was one of the Anything Goes dancers from Indiana Temple of Doom. For everyone out there that thought, "Oh, you're going to get a YouTube strike. What is this? What is this?" I did not lie to a single person. Everyone's out there is like, "Oh, what happened?" You know what happened? You read the title. Where does she dance, Trent? Club Obi-Wan. That's a club at night. She was a nightclub dancer. Boom. Did not lie in the title. If you think it's clickbait, I got 2 words for you. You're wrong.
No, Jeff. It's creative advertising.
It's 100% the goddamn truth. Not even a single word was inaccurate in the thing. So,
you know what? Here's the thing. Anything goes. That includes creativity, the moral compass of Star Wars, the structure of Hollywood. Everything goes. Yes, anything does go. Yeah. It's all gone to hell.
Yeah. So for those out there that are gonna watch this in the future, oh my God, where are the photos? Where are the photos? There you go, folks. Club dancer Obi-Wan Kenobi at night. Boom. We made good on the word. But I wanted to bring her up because she did get this Irvin G. Thalberg Award. And she couldn't keep her mouth shut about diversity. So during her acceptance speech, she said this. And hold on. We got our where'd it go? Shit.
Oh my God. Misa right? Gonna be blind.
People are freaking out. So this is what she had to say, though, about her award. Now, Kathleen Kennedy's speech became an endorsement of the Academy and the entertainment industry's drive for the inclusion of powerful new voices. And this is her quote. As our industry grows and changes, who gets to tell their stories needs to change as well, she said. So it's funny. Clint Eastwood and Lalo Schifrin were talking about jazz and all this music and all the contributions they made. But Kathleen Kennedy's got to go out of her way to talk about diversity. It's like she's doubling down on the Star Wars train wreck. So even, on a night dedicated to her partially, she can't keep her damn grubby politics out of it.
Yeah, well, let's be honest. I mean, she was never the creative force behind anything. Like this movie right here, she wasn't creative. Well, okay, I guess she did create a nightmare, but just think about this. I mean, she, with most things, is executive producer on everything, if not an assistant to guys like Spielberg and her future husband Marshall. So she literally was a very good secretary, and then was realized to be, she can handle, talking with the studio on our behalf when we're too busy filming. She can check off some of the, the different accounts on the accountant sheet when we're, done wrapping and filming. She can handle the money pretty well. Okay. Good job. You're a glorified bean counter, to quote Goldeneye. So she really was never in charge of anything creative in any of these great movies, which Amblin is being recognized for, and in turn her. She just didn't, blow the budget on hats to make her look stylish. She had this one she's wearing right now, so she didn't need any more hats.
Because she can't. You talked about her in the creative aspect. She can't just say, "Hey, thank you, blah blah blah." It's always got to be a political message, and it always just comes back. And right now, look, the hundreds of people that are watching right now, we all like Star Wars to some degree, maybe less than we used to, because of her. It's not about a woman in charge. Women have been in charge of countless things. But realistically, there are two women in charge of certain entertainment brands that really are bringing it down. Her and Stephanie McMahon. Well, Vince McMahon's just as guilty because his booking sucks ass. But my point is, Kathleen Kennedy, it's not like they don't talk about the stories. They don't talk about these things that are going to bridge the gap between different ends of the spectrum, different parts of the world. There are great stories that can resonate in America, China, Japan, England, France, Germany, everywhere.
That's because the stories don't matter to her. They do not matter to her. They are simply vessels to, okay, the Star Wars franchise is no different to her than her speaking opportunity 15, 30, however how long it was, at that awards ceremony. They're the same thing for her. They are platforms that allow her to speak. In this case, directly to an audience. In the case of Star Wars, through the handpicking of writing crews and directors to enforce her will and her vision to get a message across. That's all it is a platform for. It's not about the stories. It's about getting her opinions put out there on the highest level. She wants her. She's like that kid in the class. Remember when you're in grade school and the teacher would ask a question? And it was like something everyone knew, and everyone's got their hand up, and then she would keep looking around to pick someone. So you'd raise your hand higher, and then it connects you would stand up and raise his hand higher, and you'd grab your arm and raise your hand twice as high. She's like that kid in the back, but she's also going me, 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 me. She's trying to push everything out there, and she's using any platform to get it across, and that includes fandoms like Star Wars, which she's shitting on because the story doesn't matter, just the message.
Yeah, and people are talking about Amy Pascal from Sony. Does she still work at Sony? I thought the Ghostbusters debacle got her in some deep shit. So I
thought she might have left it for that, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, the thing is, okay, let's look back at Laura Ziskin. If you don't know who Laura Ziskin is, or Lauren Schuler Donner is a better example. She's a Kathleen Kennedy equivalent. And if you haven't checked it out, I did a video about this months ago. So go back and watch that. But Lauren Schuler Donner worked on all the X-Men films. Now, she's a producer, not just an executive producer, because I believe Kathleen Kennedy is executive producer on a lot of big movies, and she just deals with the financials, not the script, not this or that. Lauren Schuler Donner is more hands-on in the creative process, and her films that she's actually involved with the creative process have had a lot better success at the box office and critical response. Now, overall, Kathleen Kennedy is responsible for $7 billion worth of filming. Lauren Schuler Donner, $5 billion. So we're talking big, big bucks and a small difference between the two. But Kathleen Kennedy is I don't know how to say it. I guess now that she's the president, they're trying to make her an example. They're trying to say like she's this crowning example of, women in Hollywood. And that's, look, here on the channel, it's not about male or female in Hollywood. It's about, you are the representative of your company. Do you produce good stuff? And our answer is no. You do not produce good stuff. I don't care if it was my own mom. If my mom was responsible for The Force Awakens, I'm like, Mom, what the hell did you do? Why did you consult me? And then it would be like, well, honey, blah, blah, blah. And that wouldn't even be my mom.
No, Jeff. No, it would be this. All those toys I had to buy for you, all the Christmases, all this, ooh, Luke Skywalker, oh, Han Solo. Well, now they're all dead and ruined. I'm not buying any more of those. I will never have to. They're all dead. They're all gone. She blew them up. No, it's amazing to me that she would use the remark, it's important to see who tells her stories. Now, I'm going to relate this to the workplace. Anyone that goes out there and has worked a job or works a job in most fields, jobs are normally pretty evenly split, 60-40 men to women or 50-50. In the workplace, everyone has either department or responsibility. You have a role. It kind of, contributes to the overall success of your company. I don't care if you're the president or you're the person that has to clean the facilities for everyone so they have good shitter paper in the morning. You all have responsibilities and an important role. It doesn't matter what your gender is. When people talk to you, they're talking to the person that's the head of the accounting department or the head person in marketing or whatever it is. You're talking to the person in terms of the job. You're not addressing them based on their gender. It's about performance and are you doing your job? And if her job was to split a fan base, promote SJW agenda that she holds dear to her heart, apparently, and cost Disney money, then she's succeeding. But I only feel that one of those was her goal. Now it's to get her agenda out there. The rest of it, she thought, oh, Star Wars is too successful. Everyone will just say it's more Star Wars. They'll just sit there and ignore it, or they might, get residual, but they'll take my message, but they'll still give me their money. And The Last Jedi and her clown, partner in crime, Ruin Johnson, they have proven that not to be true. Star Wars fans are not going to just hand you their money. They are smarter than you think. They're not just, parents who are on their phones all the time, like, oh, kid, okay, yeah, go see Star Wars with an aunt or uncle and enjoy it. And some 6-year-old is going to be brainwashed by it. No, these are fans, people who were there in the theaters back in 77, people like myself who first saw a movie in theaters with Revenge of the Sith and watched the original trilogy on DVD or VHS. And they're also children of those prior generations who are watching it with their parents. And they're all onto it. They all see it's not as good with story because she doesn't care about story. And they also see that there's an underlying tone to this that is just, I guess, deceiving would be the best way to put it.
It is. And people we got a super chat from Sweden Cod that said Pascal is no longer head, but still a producer at Sony. Okay, so I guess I was right. She wasn't there anymore as the head, because her thing is, now for those out there that don't remember this, the Sony email leak, Midnight's Edge covered it. That was a really, really big story because a lot of behind the scenes stuff came out, especially about Ghostbusters and Spider-Man and James Bond. I believe that's why the ending of Spectre changed a little bit because of the Sony email leak. But with Amy Pascal being gone, it's a good thing. Now, my favorite part about Kathleen Kennedy getting her award last night is that she is on the committee that awards the award, that chooses the recipient. So essentially, she awarded herself and her husband. They're like, hey, what about us? What about us? So I don't know what to say, man. Do you she's so undeserving of this.
Oh, of course. So she essentially granted herself executive powers. Okay. Well, okay. I didn't know Kathleen's real first name was Sheev, but yeah, this is such an emperor kind of power play. I just had to draw that comparison because Revenge of the Sith, good movie. She does not deserve this award. I think that if, for example, I don't know all the backstories of the movies that she executive produced. If there was one of the Indiana Jones movies that was going to be terribly over budget and there was an issue and the scheduling wasn't working and Sean Connery was like, I need double the money or I walk or something like that, and somehow she mediated that and came and got them under budget, and that coupled with the great movie that is Last Crusade made a ton of money. Then you get a pat in the back for doing your job good and saving some money and managing the funds. But I'm not aware of anything like that. I'm pretty sure she just handled basic blockbusters that were tied to people like Lucas and Spielberg that were going to make great money anyway. Never had bad issues when it came to, going over on budget because you had great directors and managers like Spielberg.
The Empire Strikes Back. That's why Gary Kurtz kind of had a falling out with George Lucas, because The Empire Strikes Back went over budget, and he had to get money. Was it from Fox or somebody else like that? So it went over budget and over schedule, and that's kind of where they had their falling out.
Well, I mean, you can't argue with the final product, though. But I can see where George would be like, I'm trying to run my own company here. I don't need this. This is bullshit. I can see him saying that. But I don't see Kathleen Kennedy really having to handle any adversity like that and making her way through the woodwork to get a project done. It was just all, like I said, with Spielberg. From what I've gathered from him, and even watching him behind the scenes on something like Jaws, he was always very hands-on. He had executive producers and camera people, but he was doing everything. He had his hand in everything.
Well, that kind of stuff comes from working in independent film or smaller film, or just being hungry.
Yeah,
when these creators are hungry, they make the best stuff. When they get fat and lazy in quotation marks, then they, like Lucas, he got to the prequel era, and even himself went, maybe I've gone too far in certain places. Now, that's not saying that everything from the prequels was bad, but let's admit it. Episode 1 has a lot of filler that can be cut out.
Oh yeah, no, it's the most dispensable of the. I think it's the second best prequel, but it's the most dispensable of the three.
Yep.
But yeah, but Spielberg, he handled most of the stuff, and I'm assuming Frank Marshall did a lot as well. So she was never in an environment where she had her. She was out there on the end of a rope, and it was just her handling this kind of stuff. There were a lot of people helping her out, people within her own department that probably helped her out as well. So to have her be touted around as this great, and I believe this was for creative prowess, right? This was a creative award, correct?
No, it's here. The Irvin G. Thalberg Award is just for producers that have produced a great body of work. So I guess technically she gets the award because her name is on like Back to the Future and all these great movies. You can't take that away from her, but at the same time, you do need to take into account who
she's working with
and what she actually was responsible for.
Exactly.
The money, man.
Exactly. Now, if she was the, like you said, Gary Kurtz, he was the producer. If she was producer of the movie, that's different, but she wasn't. I mean, executive producers tend to answer to both the director and the producer.
Yeah,
they're like the third step. And in some movies, depending what the budget is, or if they're independent, or if they're a big franchise where we know we're gonna bring in some dough. Guys that work nowadays in special effects, or back then and even until today, guys that work camera crew or even second unit directors who do all the shots, they might be even above an executive producer. Sometimes executive producers barely even visit the set. Sometimes they don't even know what the hell this movie's going to be. They get the plot, they get who's all part of the production, and they go to work on behalf of the director and producer, securing funds and setting up, distribution and getting money in and out. That's their job. Like I said, glorified bean counter.
We had a great super chat from, first off, we had 2. I forgot the Majinai that says, just wanted to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. High Council tonight. Yes, that should be on Ethan's channel. I haven't heard anything different. So guys, come for the High Council tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Ethan Van Sciver's channel.
Majinai, happy Thanksgiving, man.
Now, Dragon Han made me laugh when I saw this one. It says, she produced an amazing cup of coffee.
Dragon Han. If I was drinking at 8:25 a.m., I would take a shot for you.
You should be drinking at 8:25 in the morning. I should Irish up this coffee.
My coffee's still getting hot. I don't have a Keurig. I'm not as fancy as you, so I'm sipping on Diet Coke right now, but it's working. It's caffeine.
That's true. I'm not as fancy as you. I can never drink Diet Coke.
Not with Captain in it. Come on, Captain Coke.
Okay, fine. I can deal with it, but I prefer. I want all the sugar and all the bad stuff for my body. Well, look at let's put the final word about Kathleen Kennedy for well not let me put it like this. Let's put a pin in her for now. Here's the thing, guys, and we always have to say this because of the public eye that is on this channel. Kathleen Kennedy is not criticized because she's a woman. She's criticized because she is responsible for making Star Wars into something that it was never meant to be, divisive and ruined the fan base. When she took over in 2012, nobody really knew what to think. No one was super concerned. It's like, okay, well, she's involved with all these things. Fine. Those are great movies. It'll be great. And then you see episode 7 and it's not so great. And then you get through the other ones and the movies rely too much on nostalgia. They rely too much on the past to bring you back emotionally, and they just lack the substance. And the best part about it is 7 and 8 are not a cohesive story. One's here, one's there. They're broken, they're disjointed. And because Kathleen Kennedy is the president of Lucasfilm, she allowed all of that to happen. So for all those out there that want to click on this video and say, oh, you dislike her because she's a woman, not true at all. It doesn't matter what's between her legs. What matters is what she does as a president. And she has guided the Star Wars ship into murky, dangerous waters. She has turned the fan base against her due to stupid, poor creative decisions. And the funniest part for me is that she is allowing certain people to kind of just play it by ear. Like J.J. Abrams is now allowed in episode 9 to kind of improvise. But when you had Solo, a Star Wars story come out, you had heard stories about how she came in, shit can Lord and Miller, put the kibosh on all the fun creativity. And that just, oh my God, she just doesn't get it. So enjoy your award, Kathleen Kennedy. Technically, you deserve it. On a technical level, go enjoy it. But please, stop fucking with Star Wars. Get somebody else in there. Anybody else but Kathleen Kennedy. Get somebody that enjoys the property. It's not about fanboy tears. It's not about being adversarial. Because look it, you guys can talk shit to us all day long. You can have your cronies attack people on Twitter, but when we don't show up to the movie theater like we didn't for Solo, and when we don't buy your products like we're not now, and when we don't buy your video games or play them or do these things, Star Wars is really not on anyone's lips right now, and that's a dangerous thing because people want to think, oh man, they've had 4 Star Wars movies already. Yeah, but it's been 3 years for Star Wars from Disney. You got a big theme park come up. You got all of these big things that are happening. Now is not the time to turn people on Star Wars. They should have rode this nostalgia wave either longer or not been so adversarial, because if you wrote it longer, people would still be blinded by it. But you allowed Rian Johnson and the like to shit on people. And that was her decision. That was her. She allowed it under her watch. So she's responsible. So in all fairness, because both genders are equal and everybody's, held accountable, she is responsible for all this shit. So thank you, Kathleen Kennedy. You killed Star Wars.
Pretty much. I mean, it's the same about this way. I mean, I know what you're saying about nostalgia. I liked Rogue One enough. It's the best of the Disney Star Wars movies. I'd hold it above the first 2 prequels. Yeah, I'd definitely put it above the first 2 prequels. But if they were going to do a trilogy and start off with a trilogy instead of doing like a Rogue One first, you got to do the Skywalker movies, but you have to do them right. You can't. I remember something that was said with your 3-part stream with Michael from Retro Blasting. He made a very good point. You can't soft reboot in the middle of a saga, and that's what they did. They rebooted. They did that. I guess it could almost be compared to, I guess, a Casino Royale to Die Another Day, or excuse me, First Order that, but 10 times more jarring, because you see the people that you saw in the original trilogy, but now they're completely different. They're not the focus. They're not as good, and it's not the age. Here, I saw Harrison Ford in Expendables 3 flying a helicopter. Thank God he didn't crash in a golf course, but he still has it. He's still that guy. There's something about him until the unfortunate day that he passes on to the great temple of awesome in the sky. Man, he is going to be a cool guy. He's Harrison Ford. Mark Hamill is defined. He's great as the Joker and Batman animated as a voice, but he is Luke Skywalker. I don't even look at Mark Hamill. I don't look at his politics or his Twitter, because it's just a dumpster.
You better
fire.
not. People are getting pissed off at him.
Yeah, and so am I. I look at him as Luke Skywalker. I look at his body of work. I separate the two. Carrie Fisher, may she rest in peace, made some bad life choices, but she was a she's overall a good person, and she was great as Princess Leia. They're completely different in the sequel trilogies. They're ruined, and they place the focus on the characters, new characters who aren't as interesting, aren't as well fleshed out, aren't portrayed as well. They're not written as well. Fairness to them, they also don't do as much with the material as the original trilogy characters did with their material, which was better, but still, they're not as good of actors and actresses. They carbon copy Luke with Rey. They try to kind of get like a Lando and Han thing between Poe and Finn.
Look at yourself though. You can't even remember their names. That's how bad the characters are. Oh, what are their names? Finn. The other one.
I almost called Boyega. I almost called him Poe.
But the
point is,
but the thing is, you can't even remember them, and I'm not. That's not a dig at you. They're bad and unmemorable characters.
Yeah, I've been referring to them as John and Isaac or Oscar Isaac and Daisy Ridley more have been their names because it's just too painful. But yeah, and they combine Luke and Leia into one character with Rey, and then completely bungle it up. They try to do not an exact retelling. The format and the structure of the movie is an exact retelling. The story's slightly different, but they wanted to do a reimagining, as a way to put it, of A New Hope, and do a soft reboot in the middle of a saga. No, that's bad. They should have done something that was logical. You can bring it, if you want to have Daisy Ridley play Luke's apprentice in episode 7, and there's something that goes on where some guy takes out the Jedi Temple, and here's Admiral Thrawn, and there's an empire, and the Empire regrouped way out of the reaches of the Force and the New Republic, and now it's another war, but it's the 3 main guys at the front. It has an interesting story, and as the movies goes on, Rey gets more and more info from her master. They pass on in the last movie. She becomes the hero that fights not above or labeled above Luke, but side by side with them. You know what I mean? Kind of like how, Obi-Wan Kenobi starts the prequels as Qui-Gon's apprentice, and he's just kind of that dumbass kid with the braid following this guy around. And then by the end, Anakin, him are equals, and they dueled out in Mustafar. Something like that. But you can't just dismiss and kill off and disgrace the originals to promote these new characters who are lame. You got to let them grow alongside them. Just as, Luke, Han, and Leia grew as characters in the original, they messed up. They've turned off a new generation of fans who now see it as
lame,
lame, politically charged. I mean, back in the day for Star Wars was revolutionary. The effects, the way it presented, the storytelling, it was something people had never seen before. And on top of that, shock factor being new, it was really fucking good. It was great. It's amazing. Best saga of all time. It's really close to Indiana Jones, but just the first 2 movies make it the best for me personally. Now with CGI and action movies, now they are great franchises that Star Wars is partially responsible for inspiring in at least their grand scale. There's a lot of competition. So you got to bring your A game to stand out to new audiences who aren't already indoctrinated in this stuff. And they're not even close. They're getting blown out of the water. Kind of how James Bond is next to some of the new Mission Impossible movies, or even Kingsman. They are on their A game, so your brand recognition don't mean shit. Not in terms of goodwill towards new fans, at least, or even some of the old ones are disgracing. So they are in a bad place. They chose the wrong approach. They needed to focus on something either in the Old Republic time, something between 3 and 4, not just one movie, but a trilogy of movies, or do the Skywalker ending, which personally, looking back, we could have just ended it on Return of the Jedi. That's a complete saga. We could have. Now looking back, I did want more as a kid. Grow up like, I wish I could see what happens to them afterwards. The only thing I always had a problem was, okay, so who's the villain going to be? What, didn't they just take everyone out? It's hard to, and in the comics did do a good way with Thrawn and the Clone Emperor and all that stuff. They made a good story for post Return of the Jedi. But when you have to think about it really hard to find the logical step, maybe it is over. And looking back, that would have been okay. They could have went backwards.
You could have had, if you, let's say, gun to your head, you have to have episode 7, 8, and 9. You could have just made them compelling. You talk
Yes.
about James Bond being brand X compared to Mission Impossible or Kingsman. Star Wars brand has lost its identity because I always say the spectacle of Star Wars is what made it uh, reach so many people. Yes, there's deeper stuff there, but the spectacle really was what drew people in. That's
I
what it's
saw
so made.
Phantom Menace in 3D in a movie theater. I hated that movie back then. I hated 3D. I still do those stupid ass glasses.
Yeah, well,
I still
I
went and
thought
saw that.
I saw it too because I thought, well, if I go see this one, then they'll do all of them, and I can finally see A New Hope, Empire, and Jedi in theater together. That never happened, Disney. I want my fucking screenings. But the point I'm trying to make is their characters have no identity. They don't even have a last name, and you're thinking, why is that important? Because all the other characters, even the side characters, had depth to them, even if they were just a couple of lines. Like Ryan Johnson likes to take that dig. Well, more than just marketing material. You know what? My little trading card on the back of my Luke Skywalker figure has more depth than Luke Skywalker does in your fucking movie. So they
Amen.
just constantly gone out of their way and made wrong turns every possible time.
No,
There's
they
not a
did.
single positive thing they've done, and when you look back at it, you think to yourself, why? Why would they do this? And then Kathleen Kennedy opens her mouth, and you understand why she does that. But if anything, in her never-ending battle for whatever her NPC agenda, she's hurting the perception of a lot of female characters to the general public because when I grew up, you had that lady from Star Trek, you had Princess Leia, you had Ripley, you had Sarah Connor, you had all these big, famous women characters in sci-fi. They would pop up in all these shows, and people were okay with it. Now people are like, oh God, more women leads. The thing is, they've actually hurt their cause because you've created so many bad ones, and you hide behind the words Star Wars, and you think nobody can hurt you, you're untouchable, you're infallible. That's not the case. So
When
Kathleen
when you
Kennedy hurt herself.
when you yeah, when you saturate the market, you better saturate with something good. When it's shit, you're gonna wear
Well,
out
again,
your
look
time
at the
fast.
Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has had a movie come out all the time. There have been 20 films over 10 years, and it's not even 2 years. Some year we've had 3 films. My point is,
Yeah.
you've had a lot of Marvel films. There's never been a true stinker. Even Black
No.
Panther, which pisses people off, is not a bad movie. It
No.
makes sense. It's well
No.
acted. It's fine.
It is, but
There are
with the
objections with the new Star Wars movies that people are like, what happened here? What is this? This makes no sense. There are problems, and it's more than the thing is they love to just, oh, it's trivial. It's, oh, you killed Luke Skywalker. I'm mad. I don't care if Luke Skywalker died. I care that your story had shit its pants early on and it's just dragging a dirty diaper. Canto Bite makes no sense. Your new characters are lame like Rose Tico. I don't care if Ethan has the world's biggest boner for her. For me, I don't enjoy watching her. She is so lame. And I don't, you know what? Oh, Kelly Marie Tran, she's so great. Is she? She's been in one movie that I've seen, and I hated episode 8. I don't dislike her on a personal level, but man, Rose Tico is garbage.
exactly. And I mean, I just look at it this way. The MCU, I I love the movies, especially, it got me to appreciate and love especially Captain America and Iron Man. But I think about it like this. I have Netflix. You got on there, you got Doctor Strange, you got some other movies, you got Black Panther now. I love Doctor Strange in Infinity War. It's the first time seeing it. I'd not seen Doctor Strange yet. I still have not.
Shame. It's a pretty solid
I have
movie.
not. It is, but I haven't taken the time to watch it. I don't know. Maybe I just don't feel the urge to. Black Panther is on Netflix. I don't feel the urge to watch it. There is a little bit of fatigue. This Captain Marvel thing coming our way. I think it's going to go from fatigue to negativity because they're going to do some stupid shit in that movie. And then by the time we get to Infinity War Part 2, we're going to be halfway there in excitement, and the other half just to see, okay, they better not piss me off anymore. And then so you're going to be, okay, that was good. They're going to start a new phase. We're going to see who survives in this movie. And if Iron Man and Captain America go, they retire, or they get snapped out by Thanos. I'm not going to be interested in the new stuff. I don't care enough about Thor. I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I don't like his Spider verse, I guess the way you put it. I don't like the world he's in. I don't care about Captain Marvel. I like, Winter Soldier and Hawkeye and Black Widow when they're part of the Avengers, when that team's broken up because your main people are gone, I don't care anymore. I mean, I'll look at Scarlett Johansson all day on screen. I mean, she's great and she's talented as well. Okay, I'm not going to be that much of a guy. She's also good looking and talented. But, I just don't care about the character of like Black Widow or like Maria Hill. I'm sorry, Maria. I know you were in the original Avengers, but I don't give a shit. I'm not coming back here to see Maria Hill.
That means dick that you. Here's the thing, dude. When they
exactly
when they added depth to Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow character back in the second Avengers, you had every
crazy off.
No, but you had so many people get upset. Oh, it's sexist to call her a monster because she can't bear children. It's like, did you not fucking get what they were actually saying in the movie? She's a monster for all the shit she's done, not because she had a kid. It's
like Loki said in the first one. Can you really cut out that much red?
Yeah. The people, I hate to say, but sometimes fans of stuff are very dumb, and it's the dumb people in a fandom that ruin it for the rest of us, because there are certain things they try to do to elevate it, little bitty things, and if people are receptive to those small, itty bitty things, then they're like, well, these people are smarter, they're smarter. But a line like that, and then you had Joss Whedon have to apologize and leave Twitter eventually, and all these other things. Movies can't.
I was not aware of that. I was not aware of that.
Yeah. That was a big shitstorm right before this channel officially launched. And I just remember thinking to myself, what? It's a movie, and it's not what they were even talking about. And I went back and I watched it a couple times, and I'm thinking to myself, that's never, her being barren has nothing to do with her being a monster. And I just
exactly. The reason they had her pair up with Banner, which I don't know if that happens in the comics at all. I'm assuming it doesn't. It was just a Joss Whedon thing, or do they ever hook up in the comics?
There's Betty Ross from the Hulk. The comics are way different. Plus, the movies kind of pull from different eras and generations. Like, Captain America may be classic Captain America, and Iron Man may be closer to Ultimate, or Thor is this or that.
Right.
So
I just wonder if there's a storyline where Black Widow and Hulk have a relationship, but obviously her and Banner. But the comparison was Banner in his past, had the gamma radiation accident, and now he's haunted by his past forever. The Hulk will always be there. Her thing is not the unable to bear children because of what they did to her in Russia back when she was, or Soviet Union back when she was getting trained as a girl. No, it's the stuff she's done, like the assassinations, the missions against the free nations on behalf of the Soviet Union, the people she's killed, the stuff that haunts her and keeps her from being attached to people like Banner, even though she digs them. It's her past that haunts her, just like Banner's does. And that's why they kind of worked in Josh Whedon's mind as a couple, but that was what they were going for. It wasn't about that. You're 100% right. But people who get offended by any little thing look for any connotation or insinuation of that and then blow up and start typing because all they do is type all day and don't actually do anything.
Well, speaking of doing anything, we got a couple super chats to read. First off, Ashton Jones, thank you very much. I don't know about you, but Carrie Fisher was great in Austin Powers. I like her just fine in Austin Powers and the Blues Brothers and all kinds of stuff Carrie Fisher's in. I wouldn't call myself the world's biggest Carrie Fisher enthusiast, but I have, I shared a birthday with her, and I really wanted to meet her, but she passed away. So 3 celebrities that I had a chance to meet, and I said no: Stan Lee, Adam West, and Carrie Fisher. So if I ever get a chance to meet a James Bond actor, I'm going to go for it right away. I have to.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to. You got to.
And then our friend Cesario.
I was saying, unfortunately, can't meet Roger Moore, but
Our friend Cesario Japan had this to say. So Kathleen Kennedy got an Academy equivalent of a participation award for tanking Star Wars. Is that right? Not even in the Special Olympics would such an award for bad behavior. Sorry, I'm just laughing thinking of. You ever see that movie, the one with Johnny Knoxville, the winner, not the winner, the one where he plays Jeffy in the Special Olympics. The Johnny Knoxville movie. You know what I'm talking about?
I've seen the ending. I forget the name of that movie.
I'm just thinking of her as like an Olympic runner. Let's see.
Oh, God.
What else do we got here? AM Fitness says Star Wars Legacy follows Luke's grandson 100 years later.
Huh. That's good. Oh, Kenny Hoffer is in the. Well, hey, Kenda, how you doing?
I guess he's not awake. And then Shelly Roberts.
He fell asleep. Oh, there he is.
Shelly Roberts says, Happy National Absurdity Day. Well, happy National Absurdity Day to you, too. It's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, and all through the house, The smell of Waffle House. I don't know. That's what I had for breakfast.
Oh God.
And then Demogenai says, tired of high school Spider-Man. How about you? Demogenai, I could talk about this all day.
Yes.
I am very tired of high school Spider-Man. As I said in our old video that I made last year, 4% of the Amazing Spider-Man run was spent in high school, the first 28 issues. I get it. That's where he started, but you don't. Captain America's still not fighting in World War II. They don't write stories about World War II constantly. They have him in the modern day, much like Spider-Man should be set in the modern day. He's 20-something. He grew out of the gimmick. It was fun while it lasted. I liked those stories, but then, like in real life, that's why Spider-Man, I think, has been so successful, because it's like real life. You're in high school, you go to college, you get a job, you deal with these problems. He deals with all of those issues, and a lot of people can see themselves in that character, much like, well, I can't think of many other characters because I watched Batman the Animated Series last night when I was working on the comic, and I thought to myself, Batman's awesome, but you can't relate to him as much. I mean, even if your parents were killed, like my dad was killed in an accident, so it wasn't like he was murdered, but I don't really look at Batman's life and think about parallels to mine. We all know what it's like to be the outcast at some point in time. Even if you were the popular kid in high school, there were times when you weren't the most welcomed. And that was where Spider-Man really flourished as a character, because he had those moments where you're like, huh, I can do all these things, but no one will ever know about it. I can't tell people my greatest secret. And that's what they took away from the new Tom Holland Spider-Man movies that pissed me off. They took away his, one of the best moments of the second Spider-Man movie for me, and most people say, oh, is it the train fight? Is it the bank fight? No, it's the part where Mary Jane's getting married and everyone's all dressed up and happy, and where's Spider-Man staring at the wall? Because that is the type of life he has to lead as a character. It's not, like they say in the old song, wealth and fame he's ignored, action is his reward. He gets to save the city and do all these wonderful things, but no one will know about it, and he goes back to the crappy life that he lead. They took that away from him. Now he's got, Mr. Stark, I got a robotic suit. Mr. Stark, I got funding. So-and-so knows my secret identity. It took away all the trials that the character will ever face. It's the millennial problem with a lot of these movies. You take away the adversity for the character so people can just watch them succeed. But like in the Dark Knight, not the Dark Knight, excuse me, Batman again, why do we fall? So we can pick ourselves back up. That was always fun about Spider-Man. I'm going to do this, something great, and then I fail. And I do something great, and then I fail as Peter Parker. They just took out that, man, because everybody can relate. You work so hard for something, and they shit on you. Spider-Man movie, he says, for all that you've done, they'll turn your back on you. When they're talking about the Green Goblin, that's a great moment that they don't, talk about in these movies.
I love the fact that in the first Spider-Man, I think he's in high school for what, only the first 30 minutes, 45 minutes?
Yes,
Yeah.
something like that.
Most of the movie is after high school.
Oh, by the way, Spider-Man's not in high school for all the cartoons. He's not even in high school until Ultimate Spider-Man. No, sorry, The Spectacular Spider-Man is the first cartoon that Spider-Man's in high school. He's an adult in every other one. He lives on his own in the 80s show. He lives on his own. He lives with his amazing friends. He's in college in the 90s cartoon. He's in college in the 2000s MTV series. So no, he's not in high school the entire time. That's incorrect. I covered this in the video like a year ago. So guys, go to type in World Class Bullshitters Spider-Man and watch 5 things everyone gets wrong about Spider-Man. And you can check that out because I covered that extensively. Like even how most people spell his name wrong.
Yeah, I will say I did watch that one around the time that Steve Ditko passed, and that was a good video. I learned a lot about Spider-Man, and I agree he is the most relatable, and that's why I said he was my second favorite superhero growing up as a kid, right behind Batman. And part of Batman's mystique was the suit, the car, the villains, but as a pure just the character. Spider-Man really was great. He was relatable to all people, and not just white guys from New York City. Anybody. You didn't need to play identity politics to be able to relate to and enjoy Spider-Man. You just looked at a human being going through human, in human condition, everything that people deal with on a daily basis. On top of that, he's got powers and he's Spider-Man. That was the action. That was the main draw, but underneath that was a great character everyone could relate to in some way at some time, and you could mold it to fit anybody, and that was a great thing. I think that's why Stan Lee really loved Spider-Man.
By the way, we had a £5 super chat that was retracted, so I was getting ready to read it, but it went away. And the movie's The Ringer, so there we go.
Oh, yeah, that is, yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
everyone is. He was an
Remember
adult. He
that
was an
one?
adult, an adult, an adult. Yeah, he was an adult always until the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, which is funny enough that I consider it the best Spider-Man cartoon. But Ultimate Spider-Man, he's in high school, and the new one from Disney, and they all suck. Spider-Man cartoons are not worth watching anymore.
Jeff, keyword from Disney.
That's true. Swinging Cod, thank you very much. Enemy of the State was the best Logan story. JR was on. John Romita Jr. was on point. Nah, and Mark Millar got the character right. Head messed with, then turns around, does what he does best. Is that the book I bought in that video? Wolverine, right? What did I buy? You can hear the bag rustling. Oh yeah, that's the one I did buy. Okay, Swinging Cod. I'll have to check that out. I love Wolverine. It's funny, as a kid when Wolverine was super popular, I was just like, Cyclops is cooler because I liked the suit. But as an adult, I think Wolverine's a lot more compelling of a character, and I kind of sympathize with him. I love the Jean Grey, Cyclops, Wolverine non-love triangle, especially in the cartoon. I just love that shit because Wolverine can do all these things. He can heal himself. He can live almost forever. But he can't get the woman of his dreams because the douchebag enemy of his got her first. I don't know. There's little things like that in the old Marvel books make them great. Nowadays, they always would go for the humanistic element, things that we could all understand and feel. Now it's just straight up, whatever's cool on Tumblr. Like Tumblr represents 0.0001% of the world. Everybody could relate with other things like that, like love or rejection.
You know, but with Tumblr and social media and stuff like that, and that's where you see a lot of the stuff posted, all these people, clamoring for this SJW stuff and all that. I really don't think it's created the problem. I think it's just revealed that people are stupid. Now we get to see it because there's a platform they can be stupid on. That's really what I think it's come to. And people are less informed and less critically thinking about stuff, and they just kind of go with the flow, and then that piggybacks, and then you get, these different movements and such, and it just grows and grows and grows.
Well, I think we have to attribute all those things to Stan Lee. Now, I'm going to read this super chat from Social Loner. And now, Kendo, I'm glad you're here because you really just missed the Star Wars topic, so you don't even give a shit in the first place. But we're going to talk about a couple of things. What'd you say?
I said, yeah, not anymore.
Yeah, and they killed that. I really wish we could take a time travel trip back to when we were all big Star Wars fans and interview ourselves.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Be great.
So let's see. Social Owner says, Gary Kurtz wanted Leia to become the leader of what was left of the people of Alderaan in Return of the Jedi. Do you think they should have kept that plot in the movie? Trent, you go first.
Yeah, I can see that. They never really do say, and I think A New Hope or even Empire, where all the rebel fighters are from. Obviously, like all across the galaxy is what it's viewed as now, but I guess it could have been assumed most of them came from Alderaan, and then she's leading some of them in Return of the Jedi. But yeah, that would have worked. Wasn't there some kind of like 2 Death Star thing above Coruscant, and there was like a Emperor's chamber underneath the planet? That was another idea.
Yeah, those were from the old Ralph McQuarrie concepts, and I like. It's cool to see the Star Wars concepts because Star Wars. I don't know if this makes sense to other people, but I always consider Star Wars a little outside of regular sci-fi because Star Wars is like a step above it. It's Star Wars, it's its own thing. And when I see concepts of what didn't make it into Star Wars that are like more traditional sci-fi-ness stuff, I'm thinking to myself, man, what would that have been like? So it's kind of, those are the things that get me excited. Like, oh, cool, what could have been? What could have this been? And all that stuff. But I do love the old Ralph McQuarrie concept paintings. That man was a fantastic artist, and I loved his work.
Yeah, no, he was very talented, and you're right. There's something about it. I don't mean to shit on other sci-fi. I mean, everyone's got their own, like Doomcock with Star Trek, for instance. I've never seen an episode, so I'm not going to comment. But there is something about Star Wars where it just really did transcend, especially the time it came out, and a legacy, and the goodwill, and the connection with fans, and all that, the merchandise, everything. It was pure. It was pure gold. Even when there was, shitty stuff, like Ewoks. I mean, at least it was good for kids. You could place a positive spin on even the bad stuff because it really wasn't that bad. It as cool as a bunch of Wookiees fighting. But it wasn't what we have now, which is Star Wars devoid of that special identity, just watered down to the basic old tropes. Try it out there as a carrier for KK and other people's BS ideals, and overall just lack of storytelling and just relying on the name to cover their asses for their poor work, because they think that the name will just cover it up and still make them money, and it doesn't anymore. And I guess that the decline of Star Wars can be viewed as a blessing, because at least people are onto it. Now, if it was still high quality, there'd be no decline and we'd be good. The worst thing that would happen is if episode 8 happened and then people just kept going, it's still Star Wars, and kept getting more money. That's when there would still be a problem. Now people are calling them on it, and in turn they're losing money. And if that continues, there might be a course correction down the road. But I don't think we're going to get that until after episode 9. I don't think anything they do now is going to fix it, because we'll say about J.J. Abrams, he's better than Rian Johnson, but he's still not going to make a good movie. That's just a statement. That's no compliment there. It's like you're slightly above dog shit. You're horse shit.
Well, to answer our friend Social Loner's question, I personally am glad that plot was not left in the movie, because they don't talk about Alderaan at all in Empire. She's over that. Princess Leia's over the death of her planet by the end of A New Hope. I don't think, unless you mention it, like, okay, Jabba the Hutt is constantly mentioned in each Star Wars movie, and then you see him in Return of the Jedi. Princess Leia isn't, mentioning Alderaan in The Empire Strikes Back. And then we get to Return of the Jedi, and it's like, well, she's already adjusted. She's fighting the battle to kill the Empire type of thing. So I like Gary Kurtz's other ideas, but I don't think Leia taking over for the remnants of Alderaan really would work, because people would go, the first one, yeah, okay. Like, everything, for as much as you want to dump on Return of the Jedi, admittedly, it flows to a good conclusion, a great conclusion. Only a couple things on Endor actually suck. The Luke Vader Emperor scenes are fantastic. The space battle's fantastic. It's spectacle at its best. And certain parts of the Battle of Endor are great. Had you not had Ewoks and it was just jungle warfare versus Empire and Rebel Alliance, and maybe you had an indigenous people that weren't little teddy bears, you could have had something really great. But Lucas wanted to sell merchandise, and you know what? His happy ending edict worked. I'm not here to kiss the guy's ass because I hate the new stuff, but the happy ending edict worked. The ending of Return of the Jedi is great. They win. It's over. Star Wars is done. Take your toys, go have your own adventures. And we did for almost 20 years. Oh, and they did it back for almost 40 years. We did it ourselves for 32 years, something like that. So yeah,
here's the other thing, Jeff. You also had the comics that came out, and even had in '96, they had the Shadows of the Empire, launched its own small toy line subset, and set between Empire and Return of the Jedi. Great story.
Were you even born when that came out?
No, I was a year after.
Okay, I remember there used to be TV commercials for that.
Yeah, and then the novel, a comic book, I think maybe a game, and then you had the small toy line.
Maybe a game. The game was the thing that's most remembered from it.
Oh, there was a game. We'll see. What system was it on?
Nintendo 64. It was one of the first games for the system. The Nintendo 64 box had a Stormtrooper on it.
Yep.
Oh, God damn it! I do need. Here's the thing: the N64 special. Do we know what games are going to be included in that yet? Have they revealed GoldenEye yet?
They're not making it.
They're not doing the N64?
Reggie Fils-Aimé said maybe, but not this year. He said, don't be on the lookout for it.
How much does a used N64 go for? Because I never had one.
Cheap.
Cheap.
Yeah, like $40.
Okay.
The only thing I can say to you is, for as much as I love the N64, it's one of my favorite systems. They really look like dog shit on modern TVs.
Yes, they do.
So be prepared. If you have to play GoldenEye, you just gotta wait. Maybe get GoldenEye Source or something. GoldenEye is my favorite video game, but you can't really appreciate it on today's technology. And with the license, unless what?
You go to Goodwill and you find an old tube TV for $5.
Hell, if you live in my area, I'll give you one. I got 2 tube TVs.
Yeah,
somebody could have.
I was gonna say I've got 2 as well.
There we go. And doesn't Phil have like 14 of them?
Phil has more. It's weird. We had a video game tournament. He had like 7 flat screens that he pulled out.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Are they all like cheap? Like was like just the cheapest kind you can get? Or
No, they were nice. Like his one TV is a couple $1,000s. His big one, and then he's got LG. His neighbor or his roommate has a really shitty one that was like $200, but we use that. It's funny though. We played the new Spider-Man game on it. The graphics looked like shit because the TV was shit.
Yeah, can't get past it. I don't know. Best Buy will have some Black Friday deals. Pick up a new TV.
Yeah, well, I don't need a new TV. Like I said, I got my 4K from last year still in the box. That was what I got for Christmas last year. Never opened it.
Okay, what brand was it?
LG.
LG. All right.
Nice. It's got HDR and all that. It's a nice 4K TV. I just never used it because that's right around the time when the channel started taking off, and I've been busy for a whole year. It's weird having my PlayStation hooked back up for Red Dead. Asteroth, thank you very much for your super chat. Good morning, Jeff, Kendo, and guest. By the way, folks, our guest is Trent, American Trent 007. He is like you. He is in the chat every single morning for Good Morning Pop Culture. But Trent's also a patron, and as a patron, you guys can be on stuff. So all you got to do, and there are literally hundreds of patrons. All you guys got to do is say, hey, Jeff, what time are you free? Because we got some of you guys that are going to join us for Star Wars. You guys are entitled to guest spots on the show. All you got to do is tell us on Patreon that you'd like to be on something, and we'll have you on. That's why Trent's going to be here, and he's going to be on our James Bond and our Planes, Trains, and Automobiles commentary today. So Trent is he's our bullshitter in waiting. Like there's Channel Dad Brian Lape, and then there's really Trent. So,
oh God, come on, Jeff, the man attacked PBR. Can you at least put me above Brian?
Jeff doesn't like PBR though.
Yeah.
Oh, so wait, you don't, Jeff? What the hell?
Dude, PBR is really hard for me to drink.
Oh man, that's the classic. It might be going away though. It might be going away.
Good.
They're having a conflict with the people that brew it.
Good. But Asteroth actually had more of a message. He says, if Captain Marvel performs the way Solo did, how much of a meltdown do you think we can expect? Well, let me answer this one first, because I'm excited to talk about this future. It will be everyone is a sexist. Anita Sarkeesian will become relevant again. Everyone's going to be attacked on both sides. Even women that write articles that say they didn't like the movie are going to be called, I don't know, something. They'll be called sexist too. How can I be sexist against my own sex? Somehow you are. If Captain Marvel isn't welcomed with open arms and praise on International Women's Day, people are going to lose their minds on the internet, on social media, platform stupidity, or whatever you called it, Trent. It'll be interesting for this channel too, because I have said it. Captain Marvel is the beginning of the decline for the MCU, but it's lucky that Avengers Infinity War Chapter 2 or whatever it is called comes out right after, because all that negativity will kind of get washed away because people go, I'm excited for the next one, but we'll still remember Captain Marvel. What say you guys?
Same thing, because I mean, Captain Marvel, if we already know if it doesn't do well, what the backlash is going to be. I mean, we've seen it, we've dealt with it since last December. It'll just be on steroids. And I think that the release of the movie is strategic because they know that there's a chance that it could blow up in their face. And if it does, it's okay. We've got Infinity War Part 2 coming, a month later or so. So if it's awful, I'm looking forward to I think I'm looking forward to it being awful more than I am if it's any good.
Me too, because I want to have those discussions.
Yeah.
Dude, the high cap is going to go crazy for like 2 months straight if that movie's garbage and fails.
Right.
Oh,
I mean, I don't want to sit here and actively root for a Marvel movie to be bad because, they've got a really good track record and I've enjoyed most of them, but I don't know. I think it's because if this one's really bad, you will see the shitheels out there just like in full on, we have to defend this movie and put everybody down mode. And I think it will expose their hand even more. So I don't know. I just want it to be awful.
And you're saying if the movie is not subjectively bad, but it's like it's an affront, it's just bad. It's just there's no way anyone objectively looking at it is they're going to be disappointed because it's not as good as other Marvel movies, or it's just pure bullshit. It's going to be awful. And when they come to defend it and start, saying the basic old words, oh, you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're blah, 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 whatever, they are really going to expose themselves to being just based on agenda alone.
Hey, Kendo.
Yo.
What if everybody in the world hates it but you, me, Nick, and Dion?
So like Justice League?
Yeah, what if it's like Justice League where we're like,
What if it's like Justice League? Where we God damn, that was one of the most surreal movie going experiences I've ever had, because we had the bar set so freaking low that we went into that movie, and the whole time I'm sitting there watching the movie, I'm like, all right, I'm waiting to hate this. Okay, I'm waiting to hate this. Shit, I'm really waiting to hate this. Wow, this is still good. When's it gonna suck? It's over? That wasn't that bad. And then I remember pulling out my phone and going to send a message, because you guys had all more or less chimed in, hey, I'm done, hey, I'm done, hey, I'm done. And I'm like worried that they're going to be eviscerating this movie, and I'm going to be like, I actually liked it. But I just remember sending a message back, be like, well, that wasn't that bad, or something to that effect. And you're like, dude, wait till we get on to talk about it. And I sat down and we were all like, it really wasn't that bad. No, it was watchable. There was some problems, but it was watchable.
I'll buy that on Black Friday.
I think it'll be like that. I was gonna say, yeah, so am I. I would say that it's probably like how I said, the backlash against us would be like Justice League, but on super duper steroids.
I mean, honestly, when I saw Justice League, and I will be buying some of these Blu-rays on Black Friday, I'm sure Walmart, Target, and Best Buy will run some good deals. I have to scope them out ahead of time. But when I saw, I saw Man of Steel after the fact. I think it was on like FX or something. I thought there are elements here that I like. Doesn't feel like Superman. It's too depressing. Okay, that's like a 6 out of 10 or something. I'll move on. I watch the theatrical cut of BVS. Hated it. Fucking hated it outright. The plot holes were huge. It didn't make any damn sense. I hate it. But, I ended up getting the Blu-ray as a gift. It had the extended cut on it. I watched the extended cut. It does not make the movie great. It does not make it good. It did make it better for me personally, though, because it did fill in some of the plot holes, like when he burns the bodies to make it like, okay, that's why they blame Superman, because why does Superman shoot people? You know what I mean? It filled in some of those really glaring plot holes, but overall, it didn't fix Jesse Eisenberg. It didn't fix some of the other issues that were with that movie, but it made it somewhat more enjoyable. Like I could put that version of the movie in the background and not, go fuck this movie every 10 seconds. But it still was not. It was like a 4. It was like a 5 out of 10 from being a 3 to a 5. I see Justice League, and it's like a 7 or an 8 for me. It really, because the bar was low, it surprised me. I thought it was solid. I didn't even mind. I didn't really notice much the CGI mustache-less Henry Cavill. I thought it was okay. I like when he made the one call back to Batman. Do you bleed or you will? And that whole "do you bleed" thing. I thought that was a good way to tie it back. I enjoyed the movie. Steppenwolf was a lame ass villain, but so what? He sent up Darkseid.
Well, let's not get too excited to talk about it now, because there's actually something I'm going to bring up in a moment. So we got a couple super chats, and then I'm going to go. We're going to talk about the Stan Lee response. He's passed away, rest in peace, Stan. But his company's response to the douchebag known as Bill Maher. But we actually have some information about Justice League changes from the Snyder Cut to now. So this is a very geek-friendly show. Yeah, there's a lot of them, too. So I'm glad you guys are here, so I don't have to just read them and then wait and then read the next one. We can talk back and forth. So Damajanai says, that's why I hate when people say Disney saved Star Wars. 32 years of expanded universe. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, you had the Clone Wars keeping it going. You had the Blu-ray releases. Star Wars was not gone. You had the comic books. You had the toys, which were great at that time. You had a whole lot outside of the movie theater keeping that brand alive and well.
Plus, George would have came back with a sequel trilogy at some point.
And that's the thing that Mark Hamill mentioned. Well, here's the thing. Mark Hamill had apparently when they signed on, I guess they signed their contracts in like early 2012, and this was back when Lucas still owned it. There's an interview with Mark Hamill where he says that. So when they signed up, they thought they were going to do something. It'd be with George, not with Disney.
Well, I don't think that Lucas, I mean, maybe that's the case, but I think Lucas knew he was going to sell it, so it's kind of getting the ball rolling. But I thought everything was really good with Clone Wars and the toys and the games and everything. It just Force Unleashed was a hit. Number 2, but it still wasn't terrible. I loved it. The only thing that sucked from that post-Episode 3 Clone Wars era was Star Wars Connect. That was garbage. Our friend Brandon...
I never messed around with that.
It's stupid. Just watch the videos on YouTube. So our friend Brandon Moist here says, hope you all have a great Thanksgiving. Brandon Moist, I hope you have the same. And it's funny, Brandon, people sent me a message like, what happened to your Walking Dead talk with Brandon Moist? I thought you guys were going to do it. Well, I guess they didn't listen to our Halloween stream because Brandon Moist had joined us for that. But
yeah, it was awesome.
Yep.
It was. We'll have to have you back on again, Brandon Moist. Super supporter. Holdo's Muff too. He's here every day. Why not? We'll do a Christmas hangout.
You know what, Holdo's Muff? We need to get him a Admiral Holdo Black Series figure. That's what we gotta do when that comes out in January.
I might drop kick those on camera.
Yeah, I'll be honest. If I see
God
those, I might knock them off the pegs.
Hey, I won't pick those up at the store.
Nope.
Pagan God X says, liking the Justice League is like sleeping with a land whale after 3 years of celibacy. You know it's bad, but somehow you enjoyed it. Oh my god. I dig it. I dig it.
Oh shit. That's very good.
God. So we talked about this yesterday. Stan Lee's passing. Okay, so Trent, real quick, what did you think when Stan Lee passed? Because we haven't had you on the show since he's passed away. What did you think when you found out? Did you find out from us or did you find out from somewhere else?
Let's see. I found out from you because I got the notification of you guys going live, and I was at work, and said World Class Bullshitters, Stan Lee has died. It's like, oh no. So I put the stream on, my headphones in, listened to it at work, and that's how I found out. But at the same time, I thought, well, I hope it was like maybe a sleeper, no complications or anything. He just passed away because he had, as we documented, and people had said, a rough past years that 2 years that we know of. But it seems that he'd been going through some stuff with people wanting him to do comic stuff and other stuff with his daughter and the agents for more than the past 2 years, for a good part of his later years. He's in a better place, I believe. He's away from all this. I think in the last few months he had gotten it stabilized where he was in a good place away from the life suckers, I'd call them, trying to get all the stuff out of him. So, and he's with his wife had passed away, I believe, a year prior. And I learned from family experiences that when someone who's been married that long has a spouse pass away, you're normally a year or two away from them passing on as well. So I was not surprised. I was sad because we lost him, and he did a lot of great things, not only just helping create characters, but mainly promoting characters. That was really his thing. He's the reason there are the movies and the games and the toys. He's not responsible for every creation. Jeff, you said that. Kendo, you said that. He's not responsible for everything, and that's a good distinction. But he did help make all those creations from Mark come into the public light in a broader way. And his contributions are going to be missed. His legacy will never be forgotten, even when these people try to stain it, because you can't erase that much goodwill and class and just great creativity that was Stan Lee. You can't stain that.
Mm-mm. So then Bill Maher, the shock jock, political commentator, irrelevant human person. Is human too kind of a word to describe Bill Maher, guys?
I don't know. I'd say butthurt asshole, but that's just my opinion. Okay,
so the Virgin Bill Maher versus the Chad Stanley. That was the original title for yesterday's show, but people didn't get it, so I was like, fuck, again. Let's call it Venom beats Star Wars. So the Stan Lee had a company called POW Entertainment, and they had a response to Bill Maher. And I thought that this was just a great thing to see. Mr. Maher, comic books, like all literature, are storytelling devices. When written well by great creators such as Stan Lee, they make us feel, they make us think, and they teach us lessons that hopefully make us better human beings. One lesson Stan taught us, so many of us, was tolerance and respect. And thanks to that message, we are grateful that we can say you have the right to your opinion that comics are childish and unsophisticated. Many said the same about Dickens, Steinbeck, Melville, and even Shakespeare. But to say that Stan merely inspired people to watch a movie is, in our opinion, frankly disgusting. Countless people can attest to how Stan Lee inspired them to read, taught them that the world is not made up of absolutes, and that heroes can have flaws, and even villains can show some humanity within their souls. He gave us the X-Men, Black Panther, Spider-Man, and many other heroes and stories that offered hope for those who felt different and bullied, while inspiring countless to be creative and dream of great things to come. These are but a few of the things that Stan Lee also considered adulting, because life, both as a child and grown up, can indeed be a struggle. Stan is the author of millions of happy childhood memories and the provider of so many of the positive tools of adulthood. Our shock at your comments make us want to say, "Enough said, Bill," but instead, we will rely on another Lee lesson to remind you that you have a powerful platform. So please remember, with great power, there must also come great responsibility. Team Stan. What do you guys think of that quote?
That was very well said. Now, what's this POW company? I missed that part. Is that
Stan Lee? It's Stan Lee's company. POW
Stan Lee's
Entertainment.
company?
Yeah,
all right. Well, that was well put.
Yeah, I thought that kind of.
I was just say that.
Okay, Kendo.
I was gonna say that's like the perfect way to respond to somebody like that, because it puts them in their place. It lets them know that, yeah, you're kind. It's a really nice way of saying, hey, you're an asshole, but you're wrong. So he literally has no comeback to that if he wants to try, because he'll just make himself look like a total dick if he does, because they did it in such a genuine, nice fashion, and that they actually meant every word of it. So.
Yeah. It's funny too, because again, I'm working on the comic every night. That's why some people are like not hearing from me as often, because after I do these streams, I get to work on the book. So I put on Batman the Animated Series, and they talk about even the villains have humanity. And I thought that was a strong point of that show. Like, I actually sympathize with this guy who's this invisible man who can't see his daughter because he was a criminal in the past. Like, I sympathize with the villain at times. Stan Lee had that ability to make you care. Like the Scorpion, who seems like the dumbest, most throwaway Spider-Man villain, you actually have sympathy because he gets screwed over and has to wear that suit forever. And J. Jonah Jameson is the reason why. So Jameson is, Scorpion wants to kill Jameson, but Spider-Man has to protect the sworn enemy, and the enemy actually has a valid point. Things like that are really, really interesting to me. And creations today do not have that same level of depth. And yes, Bill Maher was very short-sighted in his critique. Just because Bill Maher thought he was so cool because he read, I don't know, Nancy Drew novels instead of Spider-Man comic books. Bill, I'll never meet you personally. Hope I do one day, so I can be like, yeah, I want to get interviewed on Bill Maher's show. For some reason, I'm on there, and he's like, "You're an all right guy." And I'll go, "Thanks. Everything I did was inspired by Stan Lee." And he'll look right at me and he'll go, "Oh, okay." And then, people who don't want to talk shit directly to my face, I love when they do, because it's fun to get right back in theirs. But that's a future we'll talk about soon. But Trent, did you have anything else you wanted to add to this Stan Lee point? Because I thought they just hit the nail on the head and kind of like mic drop. It's like, boom,
they
fuck
did.
you.
And I like when they mentioned, talking about Shakespeare and Charles Dickens and all that, and how different mediums mean different things, and they're all worthy and good in their own way. And I think about in high school you had to read those books like was it To Kill a Mockingbird and Of Mice and Men, stuff like that. Those books you had to read poetry, Shakespeare stuff. I didn't care about any of that. But were there good lessons in all of those? Yeah, I could identify them when I was reading them. I was doing it, for school. It's like, hey, I want some scholarship money. I better not fuck up. So
what lesson was in Shakespeare though? Like we had to read Shakespeare in high school. I was a fine English student. What was the lesson? I've learned. The thing is, I've learned from the writing.
The lesson was not to read poetry. That was a lesson that Shakespeare taught me. But no, there's some old word. There's probably some old world stuff that's put in there, but I just didn't attach onto it. But like what was To Kill a Mockingbird? That was like I don't know, don't trespass or don't. There's some, I forget the kind of plot of the book, but it was essentially
on trial.
It was an innocent guy. Yeah. And then Of Mice and Men, it was all about was it Tom and Lenny?
Oh no,
And then
Harry or not God. It's my favorite book. How can I not remember their names? Lenny and George.
Lenny and George, yeah. And he's kind of a simpleton, and he ends up killing someone just out of anger and not knowing his own strength, and you feel sorry for him. There's these there's some good you can read into that as well. Also music. You listen to your favorite song if you're feeling a certain way. It can amplify that, or if you're feeling down, you want to be happy, you put on a good song, put some Axel F and get your day going, right, Jeff?
How do you know me so damn well?
You just mention it every. You do. I think you mentioned Axel F at least once a week, maybe, or twice. I mean, it's
I
on
every day from now. I was listening to it yesterday. No, that's my alarm. Every morning I hear that song.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I hear a View to a Kill every morning for my alarm. But anyways,
Good song.
it is.
LeBon's got a hot daughter. By the way.
Who?
Simon Le Bon, the guy that sings that from Duran Duran. He's got a hot wife and a hot daughter. I mean, it would make sense because he was a rock star, but good genetics.
Yeah, he didn't screw it up. That's the good thing. He didn't screw it up.
No.
He'd have to divorce her and cut her a big check. So good thing he didn't mess it up.
He got divorced from that woman?
No, if he did get divorced, he'd have to cut her a big check, and he messed it up.
I don't really follow Duran Duran. I'm not a Duran Duran enthusiast. But it's funny, you brought up Mice and Men. For as much as I enjoy of Mice and Men, like I really love that, I fucking hate The Grapes of Wrath. That is the worst book I've ever read. And I'll never forget when I was a kid I was an adult a couple of years ago. I went to a Barnes & Noble, and I was at our Barnes & Noble, they have these giant cutouts of the books. And I was like, oh, cool. And I went, ew, The Grapes of Wrath. And this girl looks over at me and she goes, I hate that book too. And we just had like a bitch fest for 5 minutes about how much we hated The Grapes of Wrath and the Okies and the Dust Bowl and all that other shit.
Oh, it's awful. Hey, you want to go out later? Yeah, exactly. Perfect way. No, but yeah, so my point is, and also in movies, watching a Star Wars movie being inspired by Luke Skywalker or Han Solo, or watching Spider-Man 1 and being inspired by, Peter Parker. Everything can be inspirational to somebody. Hell, something that's passed down to you from your great-grandfather who you barely knew, but was his, and you hear about his life, that can inspire you. Anything. For Bill Maher to attack with generalizations a medium because he thinks it is pointless and is only about movies and money, and it makes people act lazy and stuff. That is so short-sighted, and I think it's an old way of thinking that it's not looking at how there's modern comic books that are more in depth, and a lot of them were in depth to begin with when you think about it. But he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He's really off with his comments. There are people. I mean, hell, one interesting thing I found out was Rick Springfield, huge, big singer, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what he owns? A complete Kenner Star Wars collection.
Oh
Sealed.
God! Now you like even more.
Here's a video where he shows it off to people. He has them all graded. They're all mint, the entire line. Whenever he would go around, he saw the movie in '77 and he loved it so much. Whenever he'd go around his tour bus and he'd stop at towns, he and the guys, he would say, "Hey guys, I got to pull over real quick." And he'd run into like a Kmart or Walmart or any store back then, a Toys R Us, and would go in and buy in each town a Star Wars figure he didn't have. And now he has them all sealed. He says, I didn't open them because I wasn't going to play with them. His 20s at that time. He wasn't going to display them, but he wanted to have them because he loved the movie so much. So he has, tens of $1,000s, Star Wars Kenner collection sealed up. Are you saying that guy's, not adulting? He's not responsible. He's not a go-getter. There are some people who are huge sports fans or huge movie fans or fans of anything, and are also comic fans that just sit in their ass out do nothing all day, and they complain about having to go fill up their own gas tank. There's those people out there. That's true, Bill, but that's in everything, and it's not all of them. There are people that are fans and passionate about a lot of things that are good, hardworking people, and they got more damn respect for someone like Stan Lee or anyone that's passed away than he does.
Yeah. Alpha Terranima says beer money for Blackout Wednesday. God, I wish I could get Blackout tomorrow. I got to take my mom shopping.
I got to take down Christmas. I got to put up Christmas decorations, then I'll get wasted. There we go.
I have my desk wine. Kendo knows about desk wine. I could crack that open for the commentary. You know what? I'm going to take a swig of desk wine for the, I don't know, There's the desk wine.
You know, I will take a shot of fire. Or I'll do some Jack Daniels. I'll do a shot of Jack for John Candy when we get to the movie.
There we go.
But no, that desk wine I heard about it on After. I heard on After Hours. You were enjoying yourself some desk wine.
Desk wine is the best. If you don't know what desk wine is, get involved in the community. Desk wine 2020.
Yeah, listen to last week's episode.
Yeah, it was a good time. So
Yeah.
It's funny that we brought up Justice League, and it wasn't even coincidental. Or it was coincidental. We weren't trying to talk about the film. Tanae says title explanation. Well, Tanae, you were late. Kathleen Kennedy was a nightclub dancer. What was the nightclub? Club Obi-Wan. What did she dance to? Anything Goes. Kathleen Kennedy was one of the nightclub dancers in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and we showed pictures of it and everything. So there you go, Tanae. That is the title explanation.
Hey, Tanae, just wondering, is that Darth Tenebris is your icon? That's a good book. It's from the Darth Plagueis novel, which I just finished listening to. Very good.
So, by the way, I don't know who Jim Sterling is, so we weren't quoting him. So if people are like, I love the Grapes of Wrath, that's fine. Cool. Enjoy it. I've never seen the movie, just read the book. Most people say, oh, I've read the book. I've seen the movie, never read the book. I read the book, never seen the movie.
Okay, sequel trilogy Dropout has a good one. Who are you guys? Kathy Lee and Hoda? Talking about the wine? Yeah. That's a good one. That's good.
Hashtag desk wine wasted. Jonathan Hurst, morning guys. Thanks for the great show. Jonathan Hurst, thank you very much for joining us every single day. I appreciate that. It's good to hear from our people. So let's see. How about a swig of coffee for the woke man? I don't know. I put some. Yeah, I was drinking coffee and I thought, I got this protein powder I drink in between meals. I'm gonna put some of that in my coffee, but it curdled the coffee, and I went, "Fuck, this tastes terrible." So I grabbed the first thing I could grab to wash the taste out of my mouth, and that was desk wine.
What flavor was the protein powder?
Chocolate.
Oh, dude. Oh man. If you had
good, doesn't
unflavored, if it was unflavored, you could probably get away with putting it in coffee, but don't. I mean, Irish coffee is one thing, but protein coffee, no.
I've had it before. Oh God, I don't like oatmeal. Tanae says, outstanding book, ain't it?
Yes. Darth Plagueis is a great book.
I'll have to check it out. Maybe it's on Audible. I have an Audible account.
It is.
Okay.
Yep, that's how I listen to it.
So let's talk about the one thing I wanted to really mention this morning, now that Kendo's here. Justice League, every confirmed change to Zack Snyder's version. So this came out the other day, but I haven't had a chance to discuss it. Now, I'm not going to read every little piece of detail, information, but check this out. So here you go, Kendo. You ready for some information about the Justice League film and how much of a different film we were about to get?
Yeah, let's do this.
So originally, Junkie XL was the composer. He was replaced by Danny Elfman.
That's probably a good change.
Yes.
Very good change. Danny Elfman, I would not put him on the same level as a John Williams, but if there's like a tier, he's in between the step of tier 1 and tier 2, because Danny Elfman's done some great stuff. People can make fun of him all day long, but the Batman soundtrack is near perfect. He's done great work on Spider-Man and all kinds of other Tim Burton things. So I like Danny Elfman's work.
Yeah.
Yep, he's a good backup composer. He can come off the bench and do some good stuff.
His best work was Weird Science.
Yeah.
Steppenwolf's design was changed from the one in Batman versus Superman. So he looked more alien, and now he looks like a generic white dude with a helmet. So can we all agree that Steppenwolf was one of the lamest parts of the film?
Yes.
Let's see. The parademons hate the siren and smell fear. I don't even know what change that means.
I was going to say, wait. In the movie, I think they were lured by the siren.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
The opening credits. The opening credits were mostly Joss Whedon, so good for him.
Makes sense.
Lex Luthor's role was originally much bigger.
That would be a good change, because I hate Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
Yeah. Did you see who's playing him now on TV?
No, I haven't.
John Cryer.
Alan Harper.
Wow. You know what? I might actually be a little bit better with that, because I actually like John Cryer.
Well, there you go. You're the only person in America that's excited.
No, I wouldn't say I'm excited to see him as Lex Luthor, because at no point have I ever watched John Cryer and been like, That guy would be a great Lex Luthor or some kind of supervillain.
The guy's done stage acting, I believe, so he might have the ability to do it, but I don't see him as. But here's the thing: it's on Supergirl, and that's the worst SJW shit you can get into. I watched one episode one time because it was on, and it pissed me off. So he's gonna be on a ruined show. So it doesn't really matter how good he is or isn't.
The only thing I've ever seen of Supergirl, Jeff knows.
Yeah.
Let's
see where else we're. Yeah, that's an off-air topic we'll discuss with you, Chet.
God damn it, Jeff.
Superman's story was almost entirely reshot. So there you go. Darkseid was in the movie and played an important role. That's like the biggest loss.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's completely missing.
Let's see what else we got. Cyborg's origin and backstory were cut. There's a lot. So Flash's backstory and Iris West, they took out a lot of shit from this movie. Holy crap.
God damn, that would have been like an
5-hour
movie.
Yeah. The whole league went to Clark Kent's grave, and there's a photo of it. The Justice League originally continued Batman's nightmare plots. Sorry, go back.
I was gonna say I think it worked out better the way they did it with just Cyborg and Flash digging them up
to build the repertoire or the camaraderie between them.
Yeah, that, and it gave it kind of a little bit of a lighthearted thing, because I mean, when you're digging up somebody's grave, you know, it's not exactly a fun experience or a happy time, but they allowed there to be a little bit of comedicness to the whole, you know, hey, we're digging up Superman.
Yeah, well, you could, if Spider-Man was buried, I'd leave him alone.
Yeah, radioactiveness and stuff.
Yeah, Lois and Martha's side story was replaced. I don't think we missed that. Do you?
No.
Clark Kent and Lois Lane's family reunion or farm reunion was reshot.
Yeah, you could tell too.
They tried to make the Wayne Aerospace hangar look like the Batcave. Alfred meets the team. There's more from Star Labs. Ryan Choi, a.k.a. the Atom, was cut. So I guess a guy from the Flash TV show was going to be in the movie. Not the actor, but the character.
Yeah, that would have been unnecessary.
Cyborg's dad originally died. There was a military...
Was he blown up in Cyberdyne Systems again?
Yeah. Boom.
Honestly, as a kid watching that movie, that was the one part I was always like, I got generally sad. I got sad for that guy when that happens. Like, he was just sitting at home working on his computer. This kid had a toy truck.
I get pissed off at Sarah Connor.
Yeah, I hate her in that movie in some areas because it's like that's such a bitch move. But whatever, it's still a great movie.
It is
a great movie.
So the military was going to get involved with the Justice League movie, which I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah, that's a good cut.
That was a good that was a problem with Man of Steel that I had. Was a little bit the military stuff was too heavy.
Let's see. Superman's black suit made an appearance. Superman meets Alfred. And what's the final one? The final battle was different. Batman took over a giant parademon gun in the final battle. Let's see. Silas Stone gave the closing monologue, not Spider-Man. There was a different post-credit sequence with Jesse Eisenberg, Lex Luthor. So does that? I don't think we got a bad movie. That's all I can say.
Based on the things that were changed, it sounds like we got a far better movie than what we ended up with, because if all that stuff would have been in there, one, we'd have been there for a day, and two, it would have been fucking awful. Whereas at least we got something that was decent. It's rewatchable. I've watched it a few times, and it's like, again, it goes really quick. It's entertaining for what it is, and yeah, it's a heavily flawed movie, but it sounded like it could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like they played it safe with the Whedon cut, and that was the best way they could take it at that point.
Well, I'm thankful for what we got. That's all I can say.
I was going to say, no wonder the budget for that movie was so fucking high.
It was like Solo's budget.
Yeah. And it did better than Solo, probably.
You look that up. I'm going to read the super chat.
All right.
Alpha Terranima, thank you very much as always. I gazed over Grape's when we read it, but my God, was Great Expectations a painful slog. Thanks, South Park, for helping me make sense of it.
That book sucked.
I've never read it.
Oh, dude, it was so fucking bad. I was out in the first sentence. It's like, my name's Philip Parrott, but you can call me Pip. I'm like, I'm done. I'm out at this point. You know, that's no Moby Dick. Call me Ishmael. Okay, well, what do you got? No, this is some little. All right, so here's my Great Expectations story. All right, so in high school, in English class, there was two. My school is big enough that we had multiple like classes for our teachers teaching that class in the school, and so they staggered their stuff so that way it wasn't all happening at the same time because they taught it independently. So my buddy Brandon, he got through Great Expectations before I did, and so they were done with it. So like the key point in my teacher's class of who was the great benefactor and everything like that was like our weekly thing, is to try to figure out who it is, So Brandon tells me right away, he goes, dude, it's this guy named fucking Manwich or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay. So like the first fucking day of this thing, she's like talking about, she goes, who's going to be this? That's the mystery of the book. And I was like, it's Magwitch. And I got a death stare. I got the death stare from the teacher, who loved me, by the way. And this was only 10th grade. So I had 2 more years of her. And, she was just she goes, how, do you know that for sure? And I'm like, oh yeah. She goes, well, you can explain it to me after class. And I was like, all right. And so essentially all the other kids were leaving, and she's like, how do you know it's Magwitch? And I was like, well, she goes, your friend told you, didn't he? And right as Brandon comes walking by, and I'm like, no. I was like, I've read it before. She goes, I don't believe you, but let's go ahead and you not speak whenever we're talking about who it is. So So the book, I tried reading the book. It was awful, but I was able to fucking totally, spoiler alerts, wreck it for everybody in the class that actually cared. So I felt good about myself.
So I guess I should never read it now.
Yeah. Kendo
that
trolling for 20 years strong.
There you go. Something like that happened. We had to read Animal Farm and then Lord of the Flies. I think someone spoiled Lord of the Flies for me.
Animal Farm is actually really good, though.
It is. The analogies are pretty good.
The weird thing for me is some of the books we read, like Fahrenheit 451, when I was in high school, I was like, I don't want to read this book. It sucks, because we had to read it. I went to 2 different high schools, and I had to read it different years. Now, as an adult, I fucking love that book, and it's scary how much we share with that story. We live in that story.
Oh, yeah.
People get paid. They have wall-sized televisions. They burn books. Knowledge isn't important. It's really scary that is the future we live in. We still here?
Yeah. I'm looking up the numbers.
Okay. I was just like, oh wait.
There we go. Justice League did a worldwide total of 657. Soilo 392.
Damn. Yeah.
So, wow. What was the budget for each movie?
Oh, I didn't look. I just looked up the raw numbers. I know. I'm pretty sure Justice League's budget didn't we like have something about the time, Jeff, that it was like 450, 500, something massive.
Same with Solo. Though. Solo was like doubled because of all the reshoots.
Yeah, Solo's I think was originally supposed to be like 150, 175, and it ended up being like around 300. So.
Yeah, well, let's award Kathleen Kennedy with a Lifetime Achievement Award. Thanks, Kathleen.
As many people want to bitch about Justice League and probably would go back and listen to our review and put us down. Did better than Solo.
Well, the funny thing is, there was for a while this narrative about all the DC movies. I think people have come and calmed down a bit about DC movies. I'm not saying they're ever great, but Wonder Woman is looked back on fondly. Justice League is looked back as kind of an innocent movie. BVS is shit. Man of Steel, Suicide Squad is garbage. There is not a movie.
Oh, that is the worst. That just that fucking. All you heard going into it was how great it was going to be and all the hype for it. I go and see it, and my thought walking out was, I was supposed to like this. Do other people really like this? What the fuck is wrong with you people? And it's like, oh no, it was just commentators that liked it.
Last year, Black Friday, there was like DVDs, Blu-rays, and all that stuff. And I went with my mom to her Walmart because she was wanting to get a TV. And so I just went over and I just kind of camped out by the Blu-ray DVD section because I wanted to hit. They had several Blu-rays I wanted to get for like $5, $6, $7. Well, then fast forward to later that evening, I'm going to meet up with Brandon. We're gonna go catch a movie, get some food, and hang out. Or so I'm killing time waiting for him, and I stop at the Best Buy that's by his house. You go to the Black Friday section, like little standy cardboard things they still have up, and most of it's ravaged. The only things that are untouched are the Suicide Squad DVDs and Blu-rays. It looked like they maybe sold 3 combined. And I'm looking at him like, do I spend the $7 for it on Blu-ray? No, I'm going to go buy the Alf Complete Collection for $50 instead.
There you go.
Well, it's funny I brought that up.
No, I was going to say this. No, you go ahead, Jeff.
I was just going to say, when we were talking about the DC movies, I'm thinking, Black Friday, I think I'm going to pick all those up. And then I thought, oh, wait, Suicide Squad. No.
Yeah, if I see him, I'm going to get Justice League and maybe Man of Steel because, like you said, like there's been a turnaround on the DC movies slightly, and Wonder Woman had a lot to do with it because it was a really good movie. I mean, I'm not going to champion it as one of the greatest superhero movies of all time. And I know Brian Lape likes to bitch about it to no end, but, he's afraid of women. I think it turned a lot because the thing is, Man of Steel came out, and I think it was a bit of a disappointment just because it was like, this isn't a Superman movie. But then BVS came out and it was garbage. Suicide Squad came out, it was even more garbage. So the expectations and the ideas and beliefs about DC movies, I think, were cemented. Wonder Woman turned that around a little bit. Justice League kind of was just like, it could have been worse, but it could have been better, maybe. And that's where I think we're at right now with DC movies.
Yeah, I agree. And I was about to say, like, some people will, when I talked about Suicide Squad, well, yeah, it wasn't that great, but Harley Quinn was awesome, and Margot Robbie, she's so hot, and it's like, okay, you want, just go get the Blu-ray copy of Wolf of Wall Street on Black Friday, get a better movie, and get better Margot Robbie, because you know what I'm talking about. So
better Margot Robbie, I like that.
Just go to Mr. Skin. Then you don't have to buy anything.
Go to Flesh of the Stars. Remember that from Knocked Up? Only at Flesh of the Stars can you see this and that. And then the girl's like, is it like Mr. Skin? And they spent 2 years of their life trying to make that website.
Yeah. I was going to say, go to Mr. Skin. You'll be able to see it. I mean, it's everywhere.
Swinging Cod says, I live in 451 with a large helping of Brazil bureaucracy in 1984 throughout 1984 thought policing thrown in. We live in that.
Yeah.
I need to watch Brazil again. That's a Terry Gilliam film I've seen maybe once. But it's funny for the people that want to say, oh, it's not that bad. Look, there are a lot of positive things out there, and we can definitely remain positive and be thankful for what's out there that's good in the world. But a lot of those books, a lot of those things came true.
Yeah, they did. I will say, just to talk about the movies that I've just seen recently. Actually, for the first time, I was able to sit down and watch all the way through Hunt for Red October.
It's a good movie.
It's a very good movie. I completely overlooked Alec Baldwin being a dick nowadays. It was actually a good movie. I mean, Sam Neill, and
he was almost James
Darth
Bond.
Vader's in it. So,
you ever seen those screen tests, Trent?
I have not. For what?
Yeah, Sam Neill is James Bond.
Oh no, I've not.
I wouldn't be able to get behind that one, I don't think.
Neither were they. That's why they were going with Pierce Brosnan, and then he couldn't be James Bond. So.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Now, I do like Sam Neill as an actor. He seems like a good guy. He did good in Jurassic Park and in Red October, but yeah, I don't see him as Bond.
Our friend David Hervey says Suicide Squad should have been Assault on Arkham. Yep, we watched that, David. It was funny. So Suicide Squad was August 2016. We went to WrestleMania the following March in Florida, and we were sitting around the house that we rented, and we watched that animated feature, and we all looked at each other and went, this should have been the movie of Suicide Squad because it didn't suck. So, David, I'm with you there. I'm with you there 100%. And yes, Darth Primus, there is screen footage of Sam Neill as James Bond. He was almost going to be Bond.
Well, so was Brolin, wasn't he?
Yeah, I would say so was James Brolin. It's all in the same. There's like a footage reel on one of the DVDs or Blu-rays, depending on what you. I'll give James Bond movies credit. They port over the special features for each subsequent release. So if you bought the 99 Blu-ray or DVD set, when you buy the 04 set, you got those features. And then when you get the new Blu-rays, you get all those features on one disc. And when they show movie clips, they use the new 4K or 1080p transfer. So good for you, James Bond. Good for you. Our friend Dayton Pfeiffer said, if there's one thing I don't get about DC Comics is why has the company created an animated R-rated film of Jonah Hex yet? Or why haven't they? Just saying. You know, Dayton, it wouldn't be a bad time to do it now with all the love of Red Dead Redemption 2. And it's weird. Every time a Red Dead comes out, there's like a new wave of Western enthusiasm. So why not announce that? You could even get Josh Brolin to come back and do the voice of Jonah Hex. He's cool. People love him. Deadpool 2. Thanos.
Very good at his job.
Yeah.
No Country for Old Men.
Yeah. That's a good movie. A lot of people shit on that. I'm just like, how can you shit on that movie? That movie's damn solid.
I will not stand for that.
I like it until I think the ending kind of sucks.
Him dying off screen. Yeah.
Wait, I always interpreted that he was injured and that he'll never be able to work again.
What?
Wait,
Brolin?
No, Anton Chigurh. Didn't his leg get fucked up at the end of that movie? He got hit by the car or something?
That's not the part. I'm talking about the guy he's trying to kill. The character he's going after, he just gets killed off screen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Because of his damn mother-in-law, the Mexican drug dealers track him down and take him out of like a motel.
Yeah. Like they fucking drive by, like they drive up and they just like shoot him through the door or something like that crazy. Or like essentially, he gets killed off screen. So like you have like this whole buildup of Javier Bardem Morgan going after this guy. And it's just off screen gets taken care of. Now the part where he like shows up at the dude's house and like pretty much kills his wife. I mean, I was like, wow, that's some pretty fucking intense shit. But
does he kill the wife?
Yeah, I mean, they don't ever say that he does. You just assume he probably did because he seems to be the type that would willingly carry that out with no problems based on everything else he's done.
But wasn't she had to call a coin flip?
Yeah, it's true.
Call it, friendo. I used to love that.
Yeah, and she wouldn't. And then at the end, he raises his gun and he goes, call it. So I'm assuming she has to call it. And just cuts to him walking out. You know, and he's stone faced, doesn't matter. And he had a silent shotgun, so it didn't really make it. So I don't know if he did or not. I always thought that he did, but she could have called it right, like the gas station guy.
But yeah, I mean, other than them killing off the character off screen, other than that, it was a great movie.
And Tommy Lee Jones was really good in his part. I mean, and then his segment at the end with, I don't know if it's his brother or his cousin or the one guy, and they're in the house talking about how the world's changing and other stuff, and how essentially in his day, Tommy Lee Jones on the side of the law had done a lot of stuff like Chigurh back in the old days. It was a little more like a Wild West kind of thing back in like the earlier 1900s and stuff. And it's like, well, there's a parallel there, and he's the one who's always chasing him down. And it's just a great movie. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I like the Coen brothers.
Yeah.
Alpha Terraneo says, I'd bust a nut if we got a new Wild Guns game. Kendo, wasn't that on the Super Nintendo, Wild Guns?
I think so. I don't know. I didn't have that one. I had Lethal Enforcers.
Folks, what's your favorite Coen brothers movie? Mine's The Big Lebowski.
Oh, slam dunk. Easily.
Yeah, that's a perfect film for me. It's weird. I can never determine if it makes number 5 on my top list. It's definitely like a top 10 favorite movie of mine, but I don't know if it's number 5 or do I like Hot Fuzz more? What do I put in that coveted number 5 spot? It's hard for me to put. Like the top 4 are easy. It's that number 5 one I can never figure out.
It's like a revolving door. It changes by like the viewing.
Just have 5A and 5B.
Yeah.
Well, then Wayne's World's going to be in the top 10 for sure. I love that movie. That's a movie I grew up with. And see, the thing is, for me, my favorite movies don't have to be Oscar baity garbage. Like when I talk to me, like my favorite movies are Citizen Kane and Gone with the Wind.
I love American Beauty.
It's like, I get it. Okay, you want to be respected for your taste in movies. You can enjoy American Beauty and Casablanca and all those movies, but I take great pride in loving Beverly Hills Cop and Detroit Rock City and Airheads and some dumb movies and some great movies. Trading Places, that's a great movie too. That's one of my favorite Eddie Murphy films. Not my favorite, but number 4, 3 maybe.
Oh God, Trading Places is my number. Shit, it's either 2 or 3 favorite Eddie Murphy movie.
I think it's my number 1, I believe.
But looking as an overall body of work, I just love that fucking movie. I mean, the cast is great. I mean, you got Jamie Lee Curtis, you got Dan Aykroyd, you got fucking Dwayne T. Robinson, you got fucking
Denholm Elliott, aka Sir Marcus or Mr. Marcus Brody, sir. He got lost in his own museum once. You know that? Yeah. You know that, Chet?
Do you know they have? Do you know they have no Museum of Antiquities in Alexandria?
Alexandria, of course. I love Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
It's my favorite. First one I watched. It's my favorite.
A lot of times where it's like, okay, for Star Wars, it's like my favorite's the original. Somebody else likes Empire and Jedi. And then it's like, yeah, it's cool. I like those movies a lot. When it comes to Indiana Jones, no matter what one you say is your favorite, as long as it's not that 4th one, I'm like, yeah, this is such a great part too. Like, I get into those movies. I wish we could do an 8-hour stream of all those in a row. I guess we should.
We will. It will happen. It will. And then we'll start doing some of the good Christmas movies like Christmas Vacation, right?
We're going to do an off-air list of our Christmas movies, and we're going to do a stream for Christmas movies so people can join us for the holidays. Plus, I'm going to do a live stream from Phil's Christmas party. We're going to play Monopoly for Millennials, so be prepared for that too.
That's a real game?
Yeah, you can get it.
I thought it was a joke.
No, it's real. I'm going to buy it.
Is it actually called Monopoly for Millennials?
Yes,
yeah, and he's got the shitty blue Wayfair sunglasses and all this.
So literally, they're poking fun at these people on purpose. Okay, I dig that. Okay, Hasbro.
Because companies out there, our channel's big. We reach millions and millions of people. If you make a product that pokes fun at this current generation, which I'm a part of, I will buy your product. I will promote it here on this channel because, man, people are stupid today.
Yeah. Hasbro, release a new vintage collection, X-Wing, and you're fully back in my good graces now that you made this millennial Monopoly game.
Yes, I fully support poking fun at this generation that I do not belong to.
Let's see. Ethan Long says, if you want to watch a good Superman movie, you have to go to the animated films. Do you agree with that statement, guys?
Not completely, because the first Superman movie is really good.
Yeah, and I like number 2.
So do I.
And I even can tolerate number 3. It's stupid.
I can vaguely, I can sort of tolerate it.
Number 4 is where it shits the bed for me.
Yeah, the quest for piss.
I'll be honest. I've seen the first one all the way through, but never in one sitting. Like, I've seen it all, but it's never together. And I've seen probably the last half of the second one, and I enjoy them, but they're like right before the Batman 8. You know, they're before Batman 89, so they're not as there's not as much technology, I guess, to kind of rough it out a little bit and finish it up. Yeah. And other stuff, but the story's good. I mean, I like the first one's story very well.
Revolutionary for the first one. The whole tagline was "You'll believe a man can fly," and back then people did, and that's why the movie was the hit it was, because it was the first time you saw. Look at when you look at old Superman stuff. It's either George Reeves jumping out the window on a trampoline and then he's laying on a bed and he flies across screen, or it's a cartoon, or you have Kirk Allen or the other people who do the Superman serials. Christopher Reeves Superman, he would fly, he would bank left, he'd bank right, he'd do this, he'd go up from camera, down from camera. You saw Superman. There's a point in the movie where not a lot of story happens, but it's just Superman scene after Superman scene, which I like. They had that in Spider-Man, they had that in these other superhero movies. But that was groundbreaking. That was a decade before I was born, so it wasn't really anything special for me. But to put myself in the seat of a viewer in 1978, as a kid especially, because I mean, we saw these movies on tape. I saw Superman or Spider-Man, or no, Superman or Star Wars on a small, 20-inch television or something. So even on a small TV, it captured my imagination. I couldn't imagine as a kid being in the theater and hear dun 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 dun, and then the fucking thing flies over your head. You're like, what is this? And being blown away. Take into account that for Superman. Plus, Christopher Reeve is just perfect. No one.
Mhm.
Oh no, he was. Like my first introduction to Superman was watching some of the animated series and the Justice League cartoons. And I do love those versions, but that might be my favorite version, the animated version of Superman. But my favorite Superman in general is Reeves. Christopher Reeves was great.
It's sad to say, but the first Superman for me was Dean Cain. I like Dean Cain too.
I do like Dean Cain. He's a
When he
good guy.
blew up on Tom Arnold the other day, or not the other week, I laughed my ass off. I was like, man, fuck you, Tom Arnold. Even though I kind of find you funny in one movie.
No, see, Tom
Stupid.
Arnold.
Actually, dude, the
Austin
Tom
Powers.
Arnold moment is Austin Powers. Hey, partner, have a good one. Okay.
No, I like him. I like him in True Lies though as well. I do.
Oh yeah.
I like when he's like trying to cheer him up, and Arnold's like, "Stop cheering me up," and he thinks that Helen's cheating on him. Tom Arnold has two good movies that I look back on, and he's obviously like the supporting role. But it's kind of like with some actors, you gotta separate what you see on screen, especially from, and he's filmed this stuff back in the day, to where he is now. Because now he's just a dick. But that's just, I guess, life for some people. Like they turn into dicks.
Well, to
The
jump
quest
off
for
the
relevance.
Yeah, the quest. We should that's probably our new series. Crazy old celebrities on the quest for relevance. There we go. I'll even do a logo just like the quest for peace. But Ethan Long, I wanted to bring up a point or bring that back because I've been doing a lot of DC watching. Not because I'm mad at Marvel. Yes, I'm not looking forward to the impending doom that is Captain Marvel, but I do like the MCU and all those Marvel books that I bought, that I watched, or I showed in the video. I'm happy with. I'm liking classic Marvel stuff, but I've been doing a lot of DC watching. And Superman the Animated Series, fantastic show. Some of the Superman animated movies, pretty good. I didn't like Superman versus the Elite. I thought that one kind of sucked. The comic book story was shorter and better, in my opinion. But overall, I guess because I don't know if I can agree with that sentiment because there's so many more animated appearances of Superman than there are live action. Plus, Superman Returns is garbage. Man of Steel is eh. Superman 4 Quest for Peace is garbage. So I guess based on percentage, you're right, at least in my opinion. But overall, I'll just still stick with the first 2 Christopher Reeve Superman flicks.
Yeah.
I just see here in the chat that another Christmas movie request is Scrooged. Now, I love that movie.
That was already
That's a good
happening.
one.
That was already happening.
Oh,
Richard Dalton
no.
was our favorite director here on the channel.
Yes, it
Amen.
is.
He is the patron saint of world-class bullshitters.
Thank you. You get it. You know. That's why you're on the show. Dayton Pfeiffer, or why hasn't DC Comics done an animated R-rated Lobo film? That'd be cool.
Well, I could get behind that.
Also, Dayton Pfeiffer, this wasn't a non-super chat, but I saw you say this. He says, the remake of True Grit is better than the John Wayne version. What do you guys say to that? I really liked the remake. I hate to admit it, but I really liked it a lot. That movie was awesome.
I like the remake, but something about John Wayne's Rooster Cogburn still is the better version of him for me. I will say though that I do like, in terms of Western remakes, I do like the remade 310 to Yuma far more than the original, which I do enjoy.
Isn't Christian Bale in that?
Yeah.
Christian Bale, Russell Crowe. It's a great movie.
The 310 to fighting around the world.
Fighting around the world. You know, you bring up, well, I brought up Christian Bale, but I've been in I found a new love for those Batman movies, the Nolan ones. Because for some reason, I put that on Friday night when I was working, Dark Knight Rises, and I was like, this is better than I remember. I don't know why all of a sudden I felt like that. Maybe I'm just in this Batman mode. But I watched that, and I got that Mafex action figure real cheap, and I was just like, man, I kind of miss this era of Batman. And everything seemed to be a little better just a few years ago.
I haven't been able to watch any of the Nolan Batmans for a few months now. I can't do it anymore at all.
Kendo, I know.
Struggle.
But I'll put it this way: Dark Knight Rises, Jeff. Probably it's my least favorite of the 3 Nolans.
Yeah, mine too.
But I look at it like this: the reason the way it is the way it is because Heath Ledger died. I mean, there was a different course they had charted. That happened, and they did. Now, Bane's voice is the way it is because that's the way they made it. They molded it. and that is what it is. I think Tom Hardy fits. He fits the physical of a real world like Bane. The voice.
Oh, your microphone's been cut. How unfortunate for you.
The
To get you to shake those titties for me. Yeah, Kathleen.
No,
Wonderful.
but the voice did give us these great opportunities just to poke fucking fun at it. So I look at that movie as, with what they had to work with, it's probably the best they could do. Only thing I don't like is the fact that Batman's been like fucking sitting on his ass for what, like 7 years? How many years was it? 8 years. That's something I don't like.
For the people in the chat that are trying to excuse liking Temple of Doom as their favorite, it's my favorite. Here on this channel, you don't have to say, oh, these are better, but I like Temple of Doom. Temple of Doom's great. Here's the thing about Temple of Doom that pisses me off. And it's not the movie, it's the culture surrounding it. It was at one point so popular and so well loved up until I was like in high school. And then once 4 came out, people started to try to go and shit on that one. And that was the one they tried to go back and dump on. And then there's been this public discourse about how bad Temple of Doom is. But in reality, it's as strong as the other two.
Yeah.
It has the same directing, I believe the same writing. Harrison Ford is on his A game in that film just as much as he is the other two. Everybody that wants to shit on Willie Scott, well, Marion's just as bad. Temple of Doom does not need to be excused on this channel. It is my personal favorite. I love Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And Trent, you're a figure collector. You know how hard it is to find toys sometimes. When that toy line was out, the Indiana Jones toy line kind of failed at retail, which is sad because it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Hasbro really put out some great stuff. They put out the Nazi soldiers. They put out all kinds of guys. But the Temple of Doom figures could never be found at retail. But I found them at a Kroger, and I bought every one, and I was selling them.
I had to go back and back because I had a few as a kid. I had Indy. I had a few of the ones from the 4th movie just because they were gifts, and I had the guy on the motorcycle.
Oh, Mutt Williams?
No, the Nazi guy from Last Crusade, the German motorcycle guy. Yeah, and we were opening the package, and my dad accidentally cut the brake line on the bike. So he said he'd buy me another one. So he still 10 years later owes me a German guy riding a motorcycle. But anyways,
isn't he giving you that big Millennium Falcon? I think he's pretty much made up.
Yeah. My family's like, you know what? You're working 2 jobs. You're going to school full time. You want one gift. What is it? This beautiful Falcon I'm staring at right now. I know I'm getting it, but still, the surprise I put together on Christmas will be great for everyone to see because I told you, Jeff.
Piece of advice, though. When you put on the front mandibles, make sure you do it right because once they lock in, they don't come off.
Oh, thank you.
Just a heads up.
All right, I'll make sure. Yep. Oh, that's good to know because I'm not going to want to fuck up this expensive purchase. But back to Indiana Jones, I went back and I back collected the ones you're talking about, and I had to get I think a Willie Scott individual was like $60 or Short Round was like $70.
Really?
I had a lot. Yeah. I
paid $6.
Nice. Some guy had a lot though, where he had all of them together, plus the troop truck. I think it was $150.
You got
for the entire. Hey, it was. It's still the cheapest I've seen. Now they're going up. For example, Mola Ram, $80.
Really? I got a brand new set of those still in the box, thankfully.
The one guy, I have 2 guys I'm still looking for. Other than that fucking German motorcycle guy. I need to get Young Indy. I got to get Colonel Vogel.
Got him.
Sealed?
But you have Dr. Elsa Schneider, which I don't. So
yes, no, I got her. Someone spelled it wrong. They spelled Snyder wrong, so it was like in the very bottom of the eBay under other searches. Everything else was like $50 on eBay. I got for $12 free ship.
I would have paid that. We had a great super chat coming from our friend the Laziest Mark. Who'd win in a wrestling match, Lemmy or God? Trick question. Lemmy is God. So we got some Airheads love on this channel.
I was gonna say,
High five
that's
to the
a fair
Laziest
point.
Mark. Yeah.
Another thing, Jeff, you mentioned Harrison Ford being top of his game in Temple of Doom, a movie that as a kid watching them, I'd get through Raiders and enjoy it. I get to Temple of Doom and a younger kid be kind of like frightened by some of the Kali Mal shit, and then I didn't really care for it. And it's like anything to get to Last Crusade. I just want to see Last Crusade. Looking back now, get a new appreciation for him. Temple of Doom is a great movie. It really is. It's on par with the other ones. It's just a different take. Being set, I think, a year or two before Raiders, but being the sequel, it's still really good. Harrison Ford, he did get into good shape for that movie. He's not like Thor ripped, but back then that wasn't the thing. It was a strong guy that's capable and takes care of himself, and he got in good shape for that movie. And another thing is, I look at this. You see him in Return of the Jedi a year prior. Han Solo had he wasn't fat, but he had gotten porkier, I guess you could put it. And you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, he was heftier, but not really.
Yeah, he was hefty.
He was never fat though, ever.
No, he was never. But he got heftier, and then all of a sudden you see him in Temple of Doom. It's like, damn, 1 year he got in some good shape.
Well, I guess he pulled a Triple H where he gained some weight and then used that energy to build muscle from the body fat. I don't know. Triple H used to do it all the fucking time. He'd get fat and then buff for WrestleMania, and then he'd let it slide and go off for the summer and hang out with Stephanie, and then he'd come back and wrestle.
Oh, bulking! I know. I've done it before. It's fun while it lasts, and then you have to lose the shit, and it's like, oh, this kind of sucks now. Maybe I shouldn't eat all that food, but hey.
Well, somebody made an interesting point in the chat. Let's give them a shout out because I read this and I wanted to give them the proper respect. Where'd it go?
Carbonite adds pounds. All right.
Carbonite does add pounds, but it was the one about the middle movie being the most original. Oh God, I can't find it now. Here we go from Matthew Godet, excuse me. Return of the Jedi rehashed A New Hope, Last Crusade, Raiders of the Lost Ark. The middle films were the most original. I agree with that. They put the characters in different settings. I mean, Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, they're both in the desert. They're both about Christian symbols. They're both great movies. They're very different, but essentially, or stylistically, they look the same. I mean,
yeah, and the reason that they went back to that with Last Crusade was at the time, I believe there was, I don't know if it was either financially or based on fan reaction, Temple of Doom was not as well received. Is that true?
I don't think so.
Or maybe it didn't perform as well at the box office, but for some reason they wanted to go back to bread and butter.
I think it was, well, to be fair, George Lucas had really stupid ideas. He wanted Indiana Jones to go to a haunted castle. And, yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's what the whole thing, that Castle Broomwald, that was meant to be the movie.
Dumb. George.
So look at Indiana Jones.
You Ewok loving son of a bitch. What the hell?
It was a hit at the box office. It had a budget of $28.2 million. It made $333.1 million. So the movie was a huge success. And let me see what Raiders made at the box office just to compare. So let's see. Raiders of the Lost Ark made $389. So it made what, $66 million less. And let's see what Last Crusade made, because that's still a ton of money. That's really not that bad of a drop off. And let's see, number 3, Last Crusade, which a lot of people think is the best one. I love that one too. It's very happy ending. Oh, Last Crusade is the most successful by a lot.
Sean Connery.
48. Yeah, budget of $48 million, box office $474.2 million.
I love how in that movie it kind of makes Sean Connery look like the doting old man, just the bookworm. I think he's a bookworm. He just sits and reads his books all day. He's not like Indiana. He's not like his son, right? And then you get to that point where, Dad, how did you know she was a Nazi? She talks in her sleep. And it's like, wait, did you just make him? Yeah, you made a little bit of Bond right there. And it's like, okay, I can see it. Oh, that they were a good pair in that movie. It was really good. It's my favorite. But like, I wonder what the critical reception was though in 80. Was it 84? It was 84, right? For Temple?
Yeah.
I wonder what the reception was.
The thing is, people would quote, like, if you go back and watch entertainment from like the early 90s, Temple of Doom was always the one people would reference or quote. Oh, it's the so-and-so in the Temple of Doom. It was like really in the public consciousness.
Kalima, I thought she died.
Okay, well,
tear his heart out.
Michael Pinarelli says that there might have been a bit of backlash at that time because the film was considered too dark because of the child abuse and slavery stuff back in the day.
But see, I don't condone those actions in the real world, but they
Oh,
make
no, of course. It's a movie.
Yeah, but Trent, I have to say these types of things because stupid people on the internet will say, well, they advocate for this. No, I don't, but you got to protect yourself. But no, it adds to the story because one, Indiana Jones is a little more heroic. I love the part where he's like, we're leaving. No, all of us. And he goes out of his way to save the kids and stuff like that. And then the truck chase in Raiders is iconic, but I like the minecart chase. Well, if the truck chase is a 10 out of 10, the minecart is like a 7.5 to an 8. I like them a lot. And then the stuff in the desert and the third one on the tank is fun, but I don't know. I like it a little less than I like the minecart chase.
Honestly, I like the biplane escape better, just because. What's it called? Like 10 o'clock. What happens at 10 o'clock? No, 10 o'clock. Hi.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, son.
11 o'clock. Yeah, that's a great part right there.
No ticket.
I used to watch that one quite a bit. Because my grandma, okay, so I had the second one from my dad, then we bought the first one on tape years later, and then we rented the third one and never returned it. So I always had Temple or Last Crusade without a box. But It didn't matter. I had fucking movies.
Yep. Suddenly, I remember my Charlemagne. The rocks and the birds be my weapons, or something like that. Oh, it's fucking. Oh God, that is my favorite, just because I think Connery adds a lot, but it's still Harrison Ford's movie, and you know it. I mean, they don't take away from him.
Nah, he was fantastic. Oh man!
And then there's a whole part when he's lecturing the class, and he goes, "Remember, X never marks a spot, and if you want truth, go down to that outer classroom." And then he's looking. And there's like, okay, there's this, there's that, there's the windows, they match. He's looking, where's the 10? Where's the 10? He goes up and X marks the spot. He gets his words like 20 minutes later.
I love that librarian too, because he's like doing the books, and he looks at the stamp. He's like, oh God.
Oh, that Albert Einstein looking guy. Yeah.
And one of my favorite parts of that whole movie is when they go down into the sewer and she goes, what is that? He's like, the Ark of the Covenant. She's like, are you sure? And he's like, I'm sure. I just love that little nod to that line right there, because it's like, oh, yeah, he did discover it himself. He was the greatest adventurer ever in a film. Like, James Bond's in a different category. He's an action, like, spy. But Indiana Jones is just straight up high adventure, and no one's ever topped him. Like, there's a reason that Tomb Raider and Uncharted and all these other lesser archaeological dig scientist characters exist. They're all fine in their own right, and in some ways great. Like Uncharted was a great series.
I've never played those games. I believe they're going to be on sale for Black Friday at Walmart. I think the PS4 collection of the first 3 remastered. I think I'm going to pick those up.
Oh, I just finished it. You need to buy those. They're that good. Seriously, I downloaded it for my PlayStation, and I finished Uncharted 3 this past weekend, and I had more fun with the finale of Uncharted 3 than I did Red Dead Redemption 2. And people go, what? Seriously, Uncharted was just a much better structured game story-wise.
Well, once I get done yeehawing, I'm going to pick up that game. Or I'll pick it up, and then I'll play it after that.
I'm going to get myself the Uncharted 4. It's only $20, but I'm assuming it'll be cheap on Black Friday. I want to play Uncharted 4.
Well, I told you
Uncharted,
about GameStop doing what they're doing with the discounts and stuff. So
I'll have to go.
Yeah,
put up with a stick.
I hate. I hate shopping on
here. Real quick, because there's people in the chat. You came late to the party. We started talking about the title, so we already talked about it. So you'll have to catch this on the replay. We started at 7:56 because we were a few minutes late, but we talked about that a while ago. So no, you weren't baited by a title. You just showed up late to the stream.
I was gonna say I hate going out and shopping, after Thanksgiving, like on Thursday. But that's when all the best stuff is out there. So yeah.
I gotta go pick up one of those PlayStations for some kid at my mom's job, because the lady that she works with doesn't have a car. So I'm like, man, I gotta go find that PlayStation bundle so that kid can get one. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Go in like Indiana Jones style too. Just have the theme song playing in your phone and run in there with a door and a whip and just start fucking cracking people and getting them out of the way, and then like grab it and swing out of the store. Awesome.
I have an Indiana Jones hat, like a actual licensed fedora. My grandma bought it for me as a gift once.
I'm still looking at my Halloween costume fedora. I haven't put it away yet. It's too cool.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, Jeff, you getting that PlayStation for the kid? I mean, just like Jamie getting his Turbo Man.
No, this lady's paying me. I'm not buying this kid a PlayStation. His mom doesn't have a car.
Hey. To be fair, Howard did not buy it either. Okay, it was part of the parade.
Let's see. Alpha Terranema says Uncharted 4 is dirt cheap, used better that way, so the NPC parasites infesting Naughty Dog don't get your money. Oh, I didn't know they were NPC parasites. I really like Uncharted. Fuck. Now I'm torn.
Didn't Naughty? No, were they behind The Last of Us?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. That Last of Us 2. I know he's referring to. Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna buy that. I won't buy Last. Here's the thing: I like story-driven games, but the shit that the games journalists praise, I ignore because it's like, yeah, it's probably got some of that crap. Because the game, here's the problem with games journalists and media journalists and all these people: they live in a fucking bubble. They live out west, where the world is a much different place. They don't really live in the real world. They don't have real-world issues.
And it's not the good out west. It's not the Red Dead Redemption out west. It's the coastline out west.
Yeah, they all just have these weird fake issues that they're like. Here's the thing: they're people with okay jobs, and they don't really have too many problems in their everyday lives. So they get involved with fake shit, and they praise up all this garbage, and it just becomes a culture of recycled shit. And that's why I don't listen to all people at IGN, people here and there.
When you don't have shit to do, you find things to do, and normally it's causing problems and arguing about shit and making up, whatever.
Jeff, remember college?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you remember I had to work when I was in college, so I didn't really have time to do much on campus other than hang out, occasionally go to class and whatnot. Because when I wasn't there, I was either doing schoolwork or I was, going to my job. But I knew a lot of people that didn't have to work because mom and dad took care of them and they paid for all their stuff. They were the ones that were always doing like the protesting and sitting around in their little groups and talking about issues and things of that nature. These people are like essentially those kids that have grown up. They don't really have a whole lot of other stuff to do. So they just all sit around together in their little social circles and talk about the world and how horrible it is. But, they can do it behind their little glass walls and things like that.
In their dorms where they're safe and paid for and fine, but they're complaining about how bad everything is. No, here's the thing, Kendo. There's more of them coming because, I go for my college is 20 minutes away. I can drive there, have my classes, do them online as well. And I also been working my way as well, part-time jobs all through my 3 years so far. I know you're talking about, man, I could have, gone 20 minutes away and gotten a dorm and done all that and played, safe space for 3 going on 4 years. But it's been a waste of money. And I just didn't want to be in that kind of environment where it's just a bunch of narcissistic a-holes. I mean, who you're going to be paired up with. And I've also visited other campuses that are a little bit bigger where people normally don't commute. They stay up there all year. And the stuff these people do up there, I mean, all these random clubs that have no bearing on anything, nothing, just wasting time, taking shit degrees and stuff and just wasting their time and just like playing house, thinking that they're all big and important and doing this and that. It's all paid for. You barely leave your one little apartment. You're at college. You're not doing that much. You're not Nelson Mandela. So get off your damn soapbox. Stop playing your clubs. Make your priorities your actual priorities and get on with your life and be prepared, or you're gonna end up being someone that's complaining all day because you're unemployed and you have nothing better to do but get on Tumblr.
There we go.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was actually a personal rant. Hey, hopefully everyone liked it.
That's why I'm glad I got out of college when I did, and that's why I've hesitated to go back.
Oh, I finished.
Just do online, Kendo. Kendo, do online.
That's probably, if I do, that's what I'm probably going to do. Although the classes I would be taking are like specialized type shit, so it's not like going to be your regular gen ed type crap to where you would have to deal with that type of stuff.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, I had to do all the engineering stuff on campus because they wouldn't give us free programs to use. They were going to give us, $100 engineering CAD stuff to take home and use. So we had to do it on campus. But like with business stuff, it's more book learning and not as much. You know, it just depends on what school it is. Some schools will give you specialized stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of the one solace I take is if I do go back, most Crusaders aren't taking fucking Calc 3.
Because they're not that smart.
No, they're busy taking study of women's suffrage. It's like, yeah, you can do that in history class.
Right. Yep. But to be honest, I would rather want to take history than Calc 3. I like history better. And
Oh yeah, believe me, there's a reason why I went to pre.
I went to pre-calc and said, you know what? I got my associate's degree in this field. I got my bachelor's and working on another one. I'm working at this job right now. It's in the other field. None of these guys are using that, and they're doing pretty good. So I don't think it's like I saw saying on Facebook. It shows like all the you learned like different stages of high school and middle school, then college, the different levels of math, and then it's like your job, and it's like formulas and spreadsheets. You know,
yeah, pretty much.
actually use. And it's like, you know what? I think I'm okay. I know my Pythagorean theorem. I know 2 + 2 equals the fuck 7. Oh, 4. Yeah, 4 equals 4. So yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. That's why I ended up on the degree path I was on. I was like, oh man, this science and math stuff, this is great, but history is so much more fun. It's so much more interesting to me. And yeah.
I'll be honest, if I did look into how much history teachers and archaeologists and anthropologists make. You need a doctorate to get like to 85,000 a year. Most of them make about 55, but I would much rather do history. I love history. I don't know. I might look into that some other. Who knows? But hey, if I hit the Mega Millions and I have so much money, I can just do what the hell I want. I might just go back for a history degree for fun.
There you go.
If I won the Mega Millions, I wouldn't do shit. I'd be like Peter from Office Space. My cousin, I'll do shit. That'd be me. I'd do like a 15-hour stream once a week. Be like, I want to go buy a book.
No, to be honest, I would donate some money, obviously, to the channel, a couple million at least. And what was that guy's name in Office Space? His neighbor,
Peter.
Oh, yeah.
No, not Peter.
No,
not Lewis. No. Oh God, what the hell was the neighbor's name?
You mean
work construction? Yeah, Dietrich Bader. Yeah. You know,
Lewis,
watch your cornhole, bud. No, it was not. It was not Lewis. Oh God, what the hell was his name?
If I won the Mega Millions, I wouldn't tell anybody, and then I would just roll up in front of Jeff's house and be like, "Get in, bitch! We're going for a ride."
Woo!
And then we'd go party. I don't know.
I'd do
where
that.
we'll
Pull
end
up my
up.
Aston. No, Jeff, I'd pull up in that Aston Martin, the re-release they're doing, the Bond edition. I'd buy one of those for $2.5 million and roll up and like, hey, we're good, we're set.
We have to figure out where I live first.
I know.
Well, obviously, I would inform you that I've won a substantial amount of money, but then I'll roll up in the Aston Martin and it's like, this is how much you won, enough to buy this car.
See, I know where Jeff lives, so I don't have to be secret. I can just roll up and be like, "Hey, I got us plane tickets. Where are we going?" Vegas.
I remember vaguely the episode where I think you brought up how much it costs for an SR-71 Blackbird just to fly, and how long it would take to fly from Missouri to Ohio.
Yeah, literally like 15 seconds or something like that. It would not take long at top speed. Of course, there's that whole takeoff and landing thing, and I don't know if there's enough area around here to take off with a Blackbird.
Okay, so I think it's time for us to close this out because we've gone a little long. Plus, we got stuff to record for.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Folks.
Hey, real quick, Jeff, I did want to close that one little article real quick. I did want to bring that up. The James Bond thing, just real quick. So, listeners, if you've listened to the channel at all, you know that I think it's safe to say all of us here are pretty big James Bond fans. I'm the newest of those. There is a new petition by these college students that we're all talking about, and those who graduated who have nothing better to do but get on social media and complain all day, and also pitch bad hashtag movements. And this next one is that people want this guy from Crazy Rich Asians, Henry Golding, to be the next James Bond. And they have, yes, started a hashtag for this. And I believe this was his first major movie, and that they feel that he should be the next James Bond to solve the wrong where Asian voices have been suppressed in action movies, mainstream, and he would be a good way of rectifying that. And yes, this was posted on the Huffington Post, which we all know was garbage tier. But yes, they want to make James Bond Asian because there's not enough representation.
Well, they made Oddjob sexy in the comics, so they can take that.
Hey, man with a good throw, women look for that.
Sure.
I don't know. This is it was so stupid. When I heard that, Jeff, what comic company is that again?
Oh, Dynamite Entertainment.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, we know what they're doing.
Yeah, nothing. Not
Exactly.
They're somehow selling less than Marvel. All right, folks. Well, it's time to close out Good Morning Pop Culture for the rest of the week. Yes, you heard that right. I will not be back tomorrow or Thursday or Friday or Saturday or Sunday. Then again, I'm never here on Saturdays and Sundays for Good Morning Pop Culture because you're at home, not at work. So catch me on next Monday for Good Morning Pop Culture. So I hope a lot of crazy stuff happens, and I hope you miss me. That'll be nice. Until then, we're going to go record some stuff for Patreon. We're going to record some stuff for Thanksgiving, and then I should be back on Friday for my Black Friday extravaganza, where for those who live outside of the United States, we'll get to see what Black Friday is actually about. It's not really the shit they show you on the news. It's kind of boring and monotonous, but it's still a lot of fun. So there's not a lot of time off for me for people in the chat because I'm working on stealing solo all the time. So when I'm not here on the channel, I'm going to be drawing that comic. And I've been knocking pages out left and right. Very happy with it. And you guys will be getting that book. It ships out in February, like I said. So until next time, folks, from everyone here on the channel, have a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe. Eat as much food as you can. Don't drink and drive. Don't wear a C, J all over your B's, and all that other happy shit. So I'll see you guys.
Don't drive the wrong way on the highway.
Get laid.